Hello.
My name's Eleanor Kerrigan.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah, what's your name then?
My name is Jeff Danis.
You passed
Woo-hoo!
the test. I was thinking you were going to say your own name and fail the test.
Really?
I did.
I
have
mean,
low expectations for you.
So many people do.
So why not? Why
starting
should
with my parents. Thank you.
Why
Thank
shouldn't
you
I
for
be on
keeping it
board
going.
with them?
Animal.
Mr. and Mrs. K.
Mr. and Mrs. K. I love this outfit.
What? Thank you. I'm dressed.
The beret is...
I'm dressed as a scumbag European director.
Aren't they all?
Who
though?
wants to work with Brooke Shields as a child? Foreshadowing of what we'll talk about.
That's
today.
right. It's sickening.
We're doing a true crime doc. No, I'm kidding.
True Oh.
Why did
it
your
is
mom...
kind of a true crime.
Why? It is true. That is right.
It's a crime.
Why did your mom keep the name Kerrigan?
What you think after she got divorced she should have switched over?
Or maybe your dad has a different name that I don't know about.
No, that's his name.
But some people do switch over out of anger.
Yeah, I think my sister kind of did.
It's hard. You have to go to court. You have
it's
to
a
do a lot
whole...
of documents and stuff. You have to pay.
Which probably is why she's like, I'll just keep
like,
it. She had 10 kids to raise.
I'm used to it.
They were separated.
Does he care that she kept it?
No. They were separated for, I don't think he cares about anything. Anyway.
In general. It's good to hear.
But I swear he, so when they split up, they were separated for almost 25 years. Literally,
oh, like
just
when they
separated.
finally did the divorce. Wow.
So
they just wanted to see if it would take.
So
they're like 25 years. I think we're not going to get back together.
Well, that Dom Irera, when he first met her, we were in Wildwood, New Jersey, and we were going to see Dom do a show. So we were hanging out at the pool, and Dom goes, he was talking to my mom, and he's like, he left you with 10 kids. Like, he was just shocked, like pissed off, and which we all are, but we were all over it by this point.
Yeah.
So
it's a fresh wound for Dom Irera.
Dom goes, she goes, well, we've been separated for 25 years, and he goes, I don't think he's coming back. And my mom laughed so hard. She was so happy. She was like, yes.
Did that make it hit home for her that he wasn't coming back?
Yeah, she realized it then. Dom brought it.
How close do they live to each other geographically?
During the whole, less than a mile.
Wow.
Less than a mile.
Do they see each other?
My mom was always working.
Okay.
My dad was at his treehouse, a.k.a. his typewriter store.
Do they see each other now?
No, my dad lives in Delaware.
Oh, okay.
And his wife moved him out of the city, out of Philly.
You make it sound like she ushered him out.
No, I mean, because she was like, it just had enough. Like, she had enough with the city, and she sold her house. And
she's like, let's get away from
it was getting a little. Oh, well, we were never a part of her equation anyway. Yeah. Dom always.
Is she going to listen to this show, you think?
100% no.
Okay. What's her name in case?
Angel.
Angel, what's up, girl?
Dom always goes, what's your dad's wife's name? It's a stripper name, right? And I'm like, you're such an asshole, but yes.
Shorty, you're my angel. You're my darling angel. That's the Shaggy version.
Just to think of like her being a stripper, because she's like a professional, like works for a hospital.
Sure, she's an older
know what I mean?
woman
like,
as well.
She's, she's 13 years his younger, 15 years, something like that.
She's like 81.
So he's 87.
Whoa.
My mom is 85.
the cradle.
She just turned 85, yeah.
Happy belated birthday.
Yep.
To Mrs. K.
Mrs. K.
Speaking of birthdays, happy birthday if she listens to this when she's older. Baby Barb turned 5 years old.
Woo!
I don't know the date, but in a few days. I have to go to Disney. I'm dreading it.
Oh, it's so exciting.
With kids? It's going to be horrible.
You know that me and Freddie Soto used to go almost every year.
And we
would
with young kids?
No, we would drag adults.
Yeah, that's fine. But
okay.
I'm just worried for what's going to happen.
Did we do it with Cruz? No, I don't think we ever did it with Cruz. I got to be honest.
My son is 1, and he won't sleep anywhere outside of his crib. So that really
anywhere.
That presents a big obstacle. No.
Wait a minute. Even in the car, he won't shut it.
We drove home from Palm Springs. It was like 9 p.m. This guy screamed for the whole ride. What is it, 2 hours plus? Until he was hoarse the whole next day. He barely had a voice. I was like, what willpower? I commend it, but also, come on, man, give in at some point.
Wow.
So that could be.
At that point, do you give him the whiskey? Because we were whiskey kids, if our teeth
I just give it to him anyway, and he just fights it. He just wants it, I guess, is why he stays up.
You know, we were kids. I mean, I'm elderly.
On the gums.
With the whiskey
They
on
do
the
a little
gums.
cocaine on the gums, some people. Not me. If
Put it on the
listening.
tongue, a little freeze. No, it never hurt anybody.
No, I've never
help
tried.
Help the kids sleep. Help them relax.
Yeah, people say, I wonder why Irish people grow up and have drinking problems. Might be some of the childbearing. I've never tried that. I have not gone down that road, but it is tempting at times.
I do remember a story of my Aunt Suzanne going, just let him drink it. And like, I wasn't born yet. It was my brother Charlie.
It's got to burn as a kid. It burns now.
Put it everywhere. He does drink a lot, so.
Yeah, he's like, that's I've always said, because my dad gave me, my dad smoked when I was a kid.
Okay.
And I reached for his cigarette, and he gave it to me. But like
How old?
I was like 4 or 5.
Wow.
For like a puff. No, but like my thing was like, what if I had loved it and became a smoker by like 6, 7?
But did he let you take a drag?
Oh, and I almost puked, and
Shut
I
up.
never wanted to smoke a cigarette in my life. Like I remember in high school, kids would smoke. I'm like, oh no, yeah. No,
I mean, I started smoking when I was 9, but it was on my own.
And it wasn't your dad giving it to
My
you.
dad. No, we used to steal them.
No, I was coughed, and I was like, ugh, I'll never want to do that again.
Yeah.
But I could have gone the other way. Is what I'm saying. With the whiskey, it could tip you in a bad area.
Yeah. My dad had the Terrytons, but then he quit.
What's that?
It was a brand. It was an old brand, but he used the
Terryton.
soft pack, and he would sleep on them, and my brothers would steal them. And I remember they were flat, because it was a soft pack. Like it would.
Why did he need to sleep with them?
Like they were in his pocket, and he just fell asleep.
He doesn't wear pajamas.
He slept on the couch for a while.
Jeans.
Somebody was
more
fertile.
learn about your life. Your life, maybe.
Somebody was fertile upstairs, so he didn't go up there much.
Your young life may be worse than Brooke Shields' young
I
life.
gotta be honest. It's not. It wasn't great.
But your life is the other end of the spectrum.
But I got lucky because my mom's amazing. So my dad, when he left, it was.
Well, you beat Brooke in that department.
I definitely beat Brooke there.
We're doing Pretty Baby. Is it Pretty Baby?
Pretty Baby, yeah.
Hyphen Brooke Shields, because Pretty Baby is the name of her movie. So I think they did. Brooke Shields, I think, is in the title of this. To make it different.
I wrote Brooke Shields' Pretty Baby because.
Either way, it's on Hulu.
Brooke Shields.
BS.
Unbelievable. I mean.
Very much in the vein of, and I think we'll draw comparisons in contrast to Pam Anderson's doc that we talked about.
It was. You're right.
I mean, it's similar. And they've had similar, they've a lot of differences in their lives, but there's definitely a lot of similarities as well.
Sure.
Where Brooke Shields a lot of hers focuses when she was a child.
Oh, Pretty Baby Brooke Shields. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
But
just because I think they had to differentiate from the movie Pretty Baby, which was a movie she did when she was 9, which we'll get into, which is
I never saw it.
Boy.
But I am going to try to find it.
You might get arrested. You see it now.
For real?
No, but it's pretty crazy.
But here's the thing. You have kids.
I do.
So if your child was as pretty as that baby.
My child is.
And she is, I'm sure of it. But I'm just saying this. Like the feature for feature. I've seen pretty kids where I'm like, oh my gosh, she's cute. That's uncomfortable.
Brooke
That's
Shields
an uncomfortable pretty.
Was a good-looking kid. In my mind, I kept being like, what if... Because there are tons of kids who are good-looking kids who
Absolutely.
grow up to be hideous.
Yes.
And vice versa.
I've seen that.
Which I was like, what if? Because it seemed like there was so much put on how she looked.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if she... And I think that does happen to some kid stars. It's like they look great, and then they just hit puberty or whatever, and they're like, oh, okay, there goes the work.
The feature for feature, she still looks amazing. 57. She still looks...
To be honest, I think, and this could be controversial, I think Caitlyn Jenner wanted to look like Brooke Shields. Do you not see that? Like the hair?
I feel like you're making fun of me.
I'm not making fun of you.
Caitlyn looks more like me than Brooke Shields. So she
went
the wrong way.
So you're thinking Caitlyn drew
went
inspiration
in and asked
from
for the
you?
Eleanor Kerrigan.
They're like, who?
He said, let me get
it.
the Eleanor so I can go back if I need to.
How dare you? Let's see the Caitlyn Jenner. Look at the hair. Very similar hair.
She don't have the eyebrows. She doesn't have close to the features.
But you can't.
She doesn't have the eyes. She doesn't have close to it.
I'm saying tried. I didn't say
frightening.
I didn't say did it.
No.
I said tried for it.
Caitlyn was a gorgeous man. Not a great woman.
It's
Look-wise. I mean,
Yeah.
Obviously, she was Woman of the Year.
Not
Don't
everyone
get me started.
can make. It's hard to go the other way, I think. Like the way I'm built, I have very broad shoulders. I don't know if I would make a pretty not great woman, I don't think.
Although my brother Charlie
dressed
as a girl and got hit on by, like for Halloween as a kid.
I thought you meant like for
But
school.
he was always like smaller framed.
Yeah.
He's not like.
Yeah, that's meant for it. But.
And I swear, and he has long hair, so we always tease him, dude looks like a lady. Like he always had the long hair. But I swear he got hit on by so many people, so many men.
Did he think about maybe just doing it?
No, and my brother Jimmy.
Hit on him?
No, Jimmy also
didn't recognize him from behind.
Jimmy,
he's like, oh shit.
Jimmy dressed as a girl. My sister Karen did his makeup.
Jesus. And tell Dave Chappelle he quit his job over.
Yes, like Jimmy has big fat lips because he sucked his thumb forever, and so we always
tip out there for you.
We tease him. Yeah, ladies, you might have an overbite.
Yeah, you'll need braces, but you'll get good lips.
Right here. And so, but Jimmy's are like oddly big, and he's dark hair. And she dressed him up, and somebody grabbed his ass really hard. Jeez. Oh my God. He almost ruined a whole Halloween night.
You should have learned a lesson
half the bar.
From your brother. Yeah, your other brother.
Well, it was years later Charlie did it. But Charlie just got hit on. Nobody grabbed his ass. Jimmy.
Was Charlie.
Jimmy's a little older, so it was a different time. They grabbed his ass.
Insulted. That he
didn't get his ass grabbed.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I'm not as good looking as a lady as I thought I was.
Look at the ass on that girl.
Jeez.
And then Charlie turned around. What'd you say? No.
Brother Jimmy's got a tight ass.
Jimmy nearly killed somebody. It was awful.
Did
the
Pacino
guy grabbed
say
him
he's
hard.
got a great ass. And his head's all the way up.
So I'm saying this. Would you not pimp your kids? I hate to say it like that, but
no.
Wouldn't do it.
No.
As a child star.
I mean, watching this, I was like, maybe I should get
Rent
some of that money.
Is due.
Get some of that money. No, I was at a party once, and there were some people who were like younger actors, teens and younger, and there were representatives there, and Baby Barb was at the party. Mm-hmm. And this woman was like, oh, does she have reps? I'd love to. And I was like, I'm good, thank you. No thanks.
Baby Barb's got character,
I said,
too.
no
so
thanks. And I also, when I lived in Hollywood, I would walk a lot. I was like one of the few people. Nobody walks in L.A. I would walk my neighborhood.
I do too.
I would walk to Rite Aid a lot, Rock and Roll House, and now you'd probably get killed. There's a big homeless encampment there. Then it was like
you
it was
wouldn't
just
get
budding.
killed, but you could still walk through it.
So I would walk to Rite Aid and right on Sunset Boulevard. I lived right off Sunset, near where the Chipotle is. If you,
I know your address.
If you know the area, there's like I think a modeling agency, a casting place there.
Yes.
And I would see casting calls, and it would be all, I don't think I ever saw a father. It'd all be mothers and young kids. And I'd be like, I just felt so bad for the kids. None of them look like they want to be there.
Well,
they're all like in line. They're going over
they're
going over the scripts, which are called sides if you're in the business. And the kids are like, and the mom's like, you gotta do this, real in their face.
Moms.
Yeah, you're like, ooh, that's a tough.
But how do you know? Because like I always wanted to be an actress, but I knew I didn't look like Brooke Shields.
I disagree. Especially as a kid.
I was a very good-looking baby. We have my baby. I'm not a baby here. I'm probably already smoking. I got to be honest. There she is. Now look at the teeth here.
What happened to the front right tooth?
So as soon as they came in.
Did you just put a rock into the gums? You replace it for a minute?
My mother used to feed us Fruity Pebbles, but they were real pebbles.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Were you
doing meth as a child? I don't know if it was out then, but maybe early.
That is so horrendous right there.
How old are you here?
I'm looking at the shirt. I have to say 3rd grade.
Okay.
Yeah, because that chain, my friend gave it to me, my boyfriend.
Ooh, wow.
So already dating.
Good. He had a good eye to get you young.
Yeah, looking a little downsy here, a little downsy. The eyes are, my mama.
For me, the eyes are not that's like looking at the hubcaps on a really bad car. It's not. The eyes are definitely not holding you back at this point.
My mom goes, look how pretty your eyelashes are. I'll go,
you gotta focus on something. You gotta focus on something. That's nice. Right?
That's what she said at this picture.
She's like, your neck looks good.
This is a school picture. This is a good day. This is.
Yeah, you brushed your hair.
Yeah, the hair was washed.
It's a nice outfit, probably.
Yeah, I mean, I had to wear this shirt.
Your good chain over the shirt.
Right, with it was a big heart. It was a big heart that my boyfriend stole from his mother's jewelry box and gave it to me.
I mean, the hair looks good.
Yeah, not bad, right? And then
I'd say the teeth is your biggest drawback at that point.
As soon as my teeth came in, I was playing football, and I stopped to talk to the girls on the. We were playing on the street, and this kid threw the ball. His name was Craig. My mom hated him for years. He threw the football really hard, and he called my name. Mm-hmm. And I turned, and it hit me right in the mouth and knocked that tooth up. It didn't grow back for a long. The other one grew on top of it, and that bottom one there grew in black.
Marsha Brady.
Should
have got hit in the nose. Would have been better off.
Yeah, I could have broke my nose or something, but my teeth, really suffered.
Man, you should find Craig and hit him in the face with something.
And so I don't have there was no way I was going to be like confident. I don't think I got confidence till like a year ago.
But I mean,
even then, I'm still a little nervous.
But like, to be a kid, what kid though is like, you know what? I want to go get a job, you know? Like, if you want to act in like local theater,
I was probably working already here. I got to be honest.
So you did.
I was definitely painting addresses, and
so you wanted to work. Mm-hmm. You had to work.
We had to work.
I don't think you wanted to work.
Yeah. So 9, maybe 10. What are you in third grade? 9?
Like 8 around there.
This is the smoking age for sure.
For most people.
Yeah, because you know what I used to do?
Most people start in third grade.
I used to bite the cigarettes and see how crooked my teeth were.
And you were like. I'm assuming you found out
like,
pretty
look at fucking snaggletooth over here.
Man,
holy shit.
You had some issues as a kid.
Real bad issues.
Yeah, I think.
Well, I don't know. I was
confident. They may have carried over.
I was confident that I never not caught a football again without my hands.
Yeah, you're like, I'm not catching it with my mouth anymore.
I learned it quick. I was like, boy, this isn't a real.
You should have played.
Fit in there.
Should have played with a mouth guard. Lesson learned.
Lesson learned is right.
So let's get into someone who looked like Eleanor as a kid, Brooke.
This is making me jealous, Brooke. My goodness.
It opens a lot of these the Pamela Anderson one's the same. Mm-hmm. It really shows you what scumbags these male talk show hosts were back in the day.
Talk show hosts.
So it opens with like an interview, or like news guys too.
Yeah.
So it opens with an interview. And the guy's like, how do you feel about all this fuss about you? You really are an exquisite looking young lady.
He literally.
Like, oh, she's like 8 or 7. Who says that to a kid?
He took a breath and was like, you really are exquisite.
It was like he was sitting at It was like he was sitting at a bar with. I was like, that's disgusting.
The fact that
who says that
she didn't nothing happened to her as a child, like. Molestation
that she said. I mean, I don't think it did, but yeah,
she would have said.
Yeah, because she did admit to something later.
Yeah, so she would have said. But I think like her mom, yes, was pimping her. Yeah, but her dad
wanted no part of the pimping.
Well, he was very regimented. He was very like, this is how life is. She lived
2 lives.
Exactly.
Her parents were like, we'll get into it. We're married for like, I don't know, like a year, less than a year, maybe.
Yeah.
And he just left, and so she'd go to her dad.
The mom left him, I thought.
Yes, the dad was like a businessman, like pretty like she'd go
Mom's
there.
Like, everything was boring.
Everything was scheduled. The mom was like, let's live like this artsy, fun, but you're gonna like work life.
Right.
So she would live like 2 completely different lives. The dad looked like he had a nice house. They showed a video. He had like a pool.
Yeah, and he started another family.
Where the mom at one point, it sounded like it was like. She said, like, we had no plan, but it was like, we need this job to get, like, a better play. Like, but it was all on Brooke. Like, it wasn't on the mom. But the mom was, like, pulling strings and, like, hustling, but it wasn't her doing any of the actual work they were getting paid for.
No, one of my closest friends, her mom was an alcoholic, and it was the most fun. I know it sounds awful, but we had the most fun.
Well, Brooke's mom, they said, was a terrible alcoholic. Yes. And they said, though,
before they said it, that's what I thought of. I was like, she's an alcoholic.
They open with like a bunch of, a lot of these documentaries open, they hit me like a bunch of different stuff and clips and like.
Yeah.
So there was like a quote, I think it was Brooke, they didn't even show who said it. It's like, girls are under pressure to be the perfect object. And then it kind of gets into her life as a young lady and her now talking about like looking back.
Yes.
It's a lot of staple for these documentaries. Is
her best friend is Laura Linney. I mean, she's one of my heroes, one of my favorite actors.
They had a bunch of her friends doing interviews. Brooke said didn't like looking in the mirror. She didn't want to focus on her looks just because everyone focused on her looks.
Bitch, I would carry a mirror if I looked like you. Like, seriously, I'm one of the people, and you can ask my brothers, I have broken thousands of mirrors because I'm seeing what I'm seeing.
And then so I thought somebody made, it was like one of those like social, I don't know, like they had a bunch of different, there was like a woman who seemed like a feminist speaking. Like they had a bunch of different talking heads. Somebody said, and I thought it was a good point, that there used to be way less famous people.
Oh, absolutely.
So like Brooke Shields was like, it's such a huge, we're now like he's like, there are people you don't even know who are considered famous. Whereas then it was like 5, so, like to 10, it wasn't a lot at all. So Brooke was like, there was a magnifying glass on her.
Oh my God!
Microscope for so long. I guess they said they used to call her the most photographed woman in the world.
Yes.
Which must be crazy to be.
I mean, she did photograph well. I mean, criminies, right? Even when she was young, obviously that was where most of it started. But like, even when she was doing the commercial, when they were showing her doing the commercial, and she's like, yeah, and they put a rope around my waist, and like,
so she could run in a circle.
They would do shit
which
like
is like
that.
You're a dog.
Yeah, and she's like, I have rope burns, and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, she's a kid.
But they're crazy. Like, oh yeah, it's a commercial. But back then they would do weird shit like that. Not just to kids, to adults.
It was an unregulated,
absolutely.
Especially for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, if you hear like the Corey Feldman stuff, like it's a crazy. They said she was working 14 to 16-hour days, and her mom only took exception to that in like the schooling. Like, hey, she needs a tutor. So other than the content, though. But like she didn't mind any of the content, which she probably should have.
Especially, was that the first movie?
I don't know.
I don't know my notes. Yeah. It was because first of all, even the commercials, like just the things they put her in the pictures, she was in lingerie. Like seeing a baby in lingerie,
child.
Like with the guard, like on her leg, you're like, whoa, she doesn't need that. Like,
and who's it for? You know what I mean? Like, who are the ads for?
Who are we praying to? Are you all out there just perverts? Like,
it's like, it's hard to fathom.
The whole world must just be sick. I mean, I guess
or just the people putting it out. It's hard to
she's
say.
Got pearls. Like, what the?
A lot of heavy makeup.
Heavy makeup in the movie. Yes. Heavy makeup.
Brooke, she said, current day, I'm not at all what you think. And I turned to Courtney, my lovely lady friend who was watching with me, and I said, "You think she's a big farter? That's the secret." And she said she got so mad at the comment. She's like, Jeff, I don't want to watch this if she's just farting all the time. That was a serious inquiry.
That would make me believe in God.
But that
would get me to believe that there is a God and he's fair. And it's like, this girl's so hot, she just farts constantly.
That was not the secret.
And it stinks.
But I love that she got so mad that she didn't want to watch if the documentary was just her farting in an interview. Her mom was kind of the early era Kris Kardashian. She was the momager. She was the
momager. Absolutely.
I mean, I'm sure people were doing this before, but like she was the mom manager.
Yeah.
Pushing, and the mom was obsessed with Brooke, to put it lightly.
Yes.
She's like, when she was born, she was so beautiful. I knew she was going to be a star. And I was like, whoa.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, she saw that. She was like, this kid is too
But that's still like a level of almost like it's psychotic to think.
Absolutely. But and then Brooke would say, I always wanted to act. I always wanted to this.
But you're also being told, like, you should,
Yeah.
So it's hard to differentiate of like, was that my idea or was I told that was my idea? Especially if the mom looks at her as a newborn and is like, and she started her working at 11 months old.
Yeah. She's like,
let's not waste any. Hey, the first 10 months, you've been taking it a little easy.
Let's get her in some lace underwear.
She did.
I bet she would photograph well in
She did an Ivory soap ad.
Ivory soap ad, right.
First work.
Was that the rope burns?
No, she's 11 months old.
Oh, right.
So she's just laying there. Baby.
Yeah.
That's early start. That's real early.
Shit.
Yeah. So the mom always had ideas of like we're making her something.
We're doing something. So her first, well, I don't even know but those are the formative years.
Yeah, I mean,
the first 5.
Yeah.
So if all you're seeing are flashes, and it was the 70s.
She knew. This is all she knew.
It was the 60s, 70s. How old? 65, I think it said she was born in.
Yeah.
So it's the 60s, and it's a big flash bulb, you know.
And her mom's
look at the birdie,
set.
you know, that kind.
Her mom, like we said, was a single mom, and Brooke said she always wanted to be fabulous, like wanted more. And so she saw Brooke as the workhorse to get her more.
Let's shut the phone off and go. My favorite.
Let's go to the park.
Literally,
let's treat you.
My best friend's mom would do the same thing, and we would have the best fucking time. I know it's awful.
They said the mom was a lot of fun before she was drunk, and then when she got drunk, like kind of went into herself.
Well, that's what Laura Linney was saying. Like Brooke learned how to maneuver.
Yes.
Like, okay, this is the part we want to talk in, and then after this we gotta.
She had to kind of find ways to work around.
Same with my friend. Yeah, same with my friend until her mom did get sober, so that was good. But it was like a thing.
Do you know how Brooke described her dad? What word she used?
I don't remember.
Beautiful. It's a weird way to describe your dad. She's like, my dad was a beautiful man. I was like, I mean, he was all right, but I wasn't fawning over the dad.
No, but I remember being like, she did say beautiful.
Her dad was like kind of smart. You had the suit,
right?
That sort of hairstyle.
He was put together.
Yes,
because the mom,
she's like dapper.
Wasn't.
Yeah, the mom was kind of
more of a free
just
spirit.
Seemed like a loud kind of.
But here's the I think it was Ian Edwards that used to do that bit.
That's hilarious.
Hilarious about.
You mean to tell me your mother?
Yes. You know, and
it was all like your mother's so and so and your father's this.
And you came out and you were a dime for real. Like it was so silly, but it was true. But he would pick like the lady who shot Selena and like. I can't think of a guy. I can't remember who he would get, but it was always like ugly and make this gorgeous kid. So I kept looking at the dad like, is he hot? Because the mom was average. She was okay.
According to Brooke, he said, well, she didn't say hot. She said beautiful.
Yeah.
But
that's what I was looking at his features.
Imagine describing your dad as that. I would never say like, my dad's a beautiful man.
My dad's handsome.
But meaning
I would
looks.
say that. I wouldn't say beautiful. My mother's beautiful. My mother's gorgeous.
Just a funny way.
That's what happened to me. My mom was hot and my dad was good looking. So I just.
You mean to tell me?
Came out like this.
Like attracts like. You needed 2 ugly parents, is what you're saying.
Exactly. I wished.
The mom, Brooke said, fought being the kind of wife the dad wanted. He wanted, I think, like a stay-at-home mom, like kind of by the book, has dinner ready, and the mom was just all over the place.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not.
How'd she divorce the dad? Didn't even tell him.
She just left.
Took off.
I love that.
See ya. Have a good one.
That doesn't happen a lot with women. We need to start doing that more, ladies. Just take off.
Imagine at this era, too, doing that.
And she took the kid. That's impressive.
Who was the moneymaker?
Oh, well, that's
she's like,
right.
I'm out of here. Yeah, she's like, I can't leave her.
She saw gold.
Yeah, she's like, hey, the dad did well on his own. It's like, I need this.
Yeah. I don't know if he's going to pay me for leaving him, but I'll tell you what, I'm going to get paid.
She was in like every commercial as a kid. They was just like every product.
A montage.
Yeah, it was just like this, that, this. She was busy.
Very busy. And I'm thinking like the mom is just like, okay, I can pimp this kid out. Like the camera loves her.
Yeah.
Like I can really make some good money with this.
Yeah, the mom's like, okay, here we go.
I'm going to form this kid. I'll do the formative years, daddy.
Casting agents love her. Her friend, I don't know if it was Laura Linney or somebody else, said after seeing all the ads she was in as a kid, her first thought was, I hope she's okay.
Laura Linney.
I was like, man.
Because it's
Imagine
true.
as a kid,
Yeah, imagine like one of your friends is constantly in. Plus, people bully them, because she's just trying to be a regular
kid. You think you're a
kid.
big deal? Yeah, like when you go back to school.
Sure. And
look who it is. Ivory Soap, Brooke Shields.
Little Ivory Soap's here. Ooh, all of a sudden.
Put a soap in the sock, like Full Metal Jacket, and you start whipping her with it.
Wait a minute. She didn't grow up in South Philadelphia.
No, she grew up in the Army. Drill sergeant.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, people would bully her. And so probably that is why, I think. But also...
I also
constantly works.
Yeah, I think like okay meaning like all you're dealing with is adults. So it's like
Yeah. And for her to be not cracked mentally.
Now, yeah.
Unbelievable. Or then.
No drugs that I know of. No, like,
exactly.
Like, yeah.
You're young. So, I mean, and sometimes people do learn from their parents, but also sometimes
you can fall into the same exact path. Especially when you're being forced to work as a kid. Look at all the child actors who have trouble.
Yeah.
I'd say the majority.
Majority of them.
Which I thought was
100%.
interesting. They had Drew Barrymore kind of here and there in this.
Sure.
She came after, and it was like talking about like all the, some of the pitfalls. And
when I first moved here, Drew was in the party phase, and I'd see her at parties all the time. Whatever, like normal. But she I don't know if she got real bad, Drew. But
I think she did. I saw her at Whole Foods once with her kid in a later phase.
Yeah. She was always out.
She dated a Comedy Store comedian.
Tom Green? She married Tom Green. Oh, wait.
Or hooked up with one, according to the comedian.
Uh-oh. Really?
Did
Drew?
A prop-driven act, Freddy Krueger.
Oh, okay. And that's
Do you know
possible.
that story?
I believe that.
He worked at a hotel.
Definitely believe that.
Said it took place at that hotel.
He also could pull very good-looking women. Because he had charm. He was very charismatic.
This is back in the day.
We'll keep his name private.
I like that they talked about like how the image of the woman changed. Like old days, it was Marilyn Monroe, very curvy, voluptuous, and then it went just like all of a sudden it became like the waif, like that super thin.
Yeah.
Like no boobs.
And she didn't develop for a long time.
I think her mom binded her.
I was thinking of that. I was thinking of McCurdy. What's her name? What's the girl that they wanted to keep her young? The book we read that you got pissed at? Jeanette McCurdy?
Yes.
Is that right?
I think so.
But her mom would make her diet to stay
and she also had like a phobia, and I think because of her mom, that she did not want to go through puberty. She didn't want to be
exactly
like an adult.
But this girl, Brooke, pretty much, I guess that's why she's more well-adjusted.
She was just like a very long and lean build.
Yeah. And her mom just thought, it's going to get better and better and better. And when she saw the kid wasn't getting ugly.
More money.
This was a line. I don't know why I wrote this. I think it was from that movie we're talking about. What's it called? Pretty Baby?
Yes.
Not the documentary, the actual movie that the creepy French director that Jeff is dressed as.
And there was a German director there as well. There was an Italian. There was a few different Europeans.
I know it was French, the first
one.
The
first one, yeah.
She goes, I can feel the steam inside right through. I could feel the steam inside me right through my jeans.
I wrote that as well.
My knees.
Which was, I was like, that's disgusting.
I was like, oh my God, it's a baby.
Line from the movie.
It was from the movie.
Yeah, it was like hideous.
Yeah, I was like, frightening. And I don't know why I never watched that, but like we weren't kids that went to the movies, so we didn't see anything until it came out.
But some of those movies weren't like commercial successes either.
Right.
They were in Europe because they're more perverts than us, or more openly.
Is that openly? Yeah.
And they have nudity on TV and stuff, so it's not.
But those direct, like they should bring charges up against them.
My problem with her movies is like, were those stories so important to tell?
Exactly.
That it warranted doing that. And,
right.
and I don't think the answer is yes.
When you're parading a kid through a room, she's a virgin and she's got makeup on.
Yeah, it's like, ugh.
What was that?
What's the point? Like, is
Unless
the art
there's
worth
some
it?
Insane resolution, like
or like it's gonna save the world, or like just something like. To me, it didn't need to be done. It was needless.
No. Wait, what? Now I'm confusing the directors. The guy who was on the talk show with her.
Who said he was in love with her?
Yes.
I was like, oh. He was American.
He was
He's
American.
Like, I cast her because I've been in love with her for a long time. She was like 14 or something.
Oh, it was Endless Love. That's it. Yeah. And I
remember
that movie,
based on his feelings for her.
How fucking sick is that?
It was all her boning some teenage guy.
Yes. And she's like, you have to look like you're in ecstasy. And she's like, I don't know what that is. And then he's twisting her feet.
He's twisting her toe because she would make her like moan.
Okay, I want charges brought up against this person.
That guy, check his hard drive because
Jesus,
come on,
what a sicko!
Like that, it's like that needs to be made. Like why?
Yeah,
who cares? Like, and that guy's like, that's his techniques on set.
And I can think of a million movies that I watched that were like teenage romancy kind of thingies.
But you can do it
none
without.
Of them had that.
You can do it. You don't have to show it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can do it with less showing.
Yeah.
There's ways that they do it now. They don't show.
What was the one I loved with Molly Ringwald where she got pregnant? Oh, it's so good.
16 Candles has a baby.
Having a baby? No, not that. It'll come to me. Molly Ringwald. Can you look that up? I'm sorry.
Rosemary's Baby?
No, she had a baby and she was a teenager. And now here's the other thing. All of my friends were having babies in high school. I grew up in a nice area.
You're related to it.
It was what the hell is it called? Did you mean teenage pregnancy?
For Keeps?
For Keeps. That's it. For Keeps. And it was an amazing love story. It was just, it really, really was. I know it sounds creepy, but For Keeps. But he was truly in love with her.
Randall, but Tinkoff? I don't know. Is that somebody?
I don't know. He was in a lot of movies. You're talking about her co-star.
He's beautiful.
He's beautiful.
Father's beautiful.
But what year was that? 88. Yeah. And all my friends were having kids.
Were they inspired by this movie?
No, 88. No. Nope.
They should have been.
I watched it thinking, oh, okay, my friend just had a baby a year earlier.
Look at Randy as an adult. Old Randy.
Yeah.
Randy Batinkoff. I like the quote, one of the talking head, again, one of those, I don't know if she was like a social, or whoever she was.
Yeah. The hair,
one lady had the most
or?
distracting glasses I think I've ever seen in my life.
She drove
They
me
look like
nuts.
snowflakes.
I was like, what? Is that a shamrock?
They weren't rounded. They were like carved out.
And it was clear with no lining. So I was like, she got a shamrock?
Seeing out of those glasses must be really annoying because you can see the jagged edges.
She's like, look how hip I am. No, take them off. They distracted me. Every time you spoke, lady, I forgot her name.
I was worried she was going to get up, fall, cut her eyelids off.
I'm sorry.
Those were sharp. I've never seen glasses like that in my life. I kept looking like, are those jagged edges?
Yeah.
Jagged Edge, the R&B
Jagged Edge,
group.
another great movie. Oh.
And a group, R&B group. But one of them said, like, a result of feminism was men said, like, all right, ladies, you don't want to be submissive anymore? Well, guess what? We're going to start working with little kids, like in Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's like, because they can't say no. Like, they won't say no. Which I was like, it's fucked up, but it does seem accurate.
You want to fight us? Yeah. Watch this.
You want to have to flex the bicep? Okay.
That's what we're going to do.
We're working with kids.
We're going to get a mom who's fine with.
Yeah, who needs the money.
Her daughter in leather and lace, if you will.
Well, her mom in an interview said, because they asked, like, you know, because they were pretty, some of the interviews like kind of went at her, like, you know, do you think this is appropriate?
And they should.
I agree.
But I didn't feel this. I didn't feel like her mom was a puppet, like making her like a puppet, like say this, say that. She let her speak.
At times, I felt like she was. You could tell when there were like words she would repeat. I felt she was coached on. A couple times,
maybe.
A couple of interviews, like when she was hitting buzzwords, I was like, I think somebody said, like, if I ask you this, because one thing about Brooke is she was super fucking savvy with the media at a young age.
Unbelievably.
Like she could talk around things. She could spin things herself. But I think there were some things where her mom would say, like, I don't think everything, but I do think some. And she was good at being vague and being like,
exactly,
like, kind of like, oh, like, you know. And she was always very like positive, very happy.
But when she was talking about that film, the Pretty Baby, I felt like they coached her. I felt like
that could be true too. It could be PR.
Because it was like, say this, say that. And then, she'd catch herself and
she almost
stutter a little
didn't
bit.
criticize anything either. It was always
Absolutely
like,
not.
I just hope the movie does well. Like, whatever they would ask. And you're like, wow. But Brooke's mom said, Brooke's a work of art. She should be viewed. Because they're like, I was like, but naked? Like, not with, well, how about just some clothes?
Look, Blue Lagoon was, when I watched it, I remember being like, oh my God, she's so lucky. Because I thought he was hot. I thought he was just a California kid with the blonde hair. You know, I don't know where they were from. I just made him.
But he was, I mean, they were like in the sun. They were fucking super tan.
I know. And then I'd be like, oh my God, she don't have any boobs either. So that's
they're in
awesome.
the movie.
But they're so
she's like 11.
Tiny.
But that's crazy.
It is crazy. It's 100% crazy.
Crazy.
But there were so many things. I remember she got her period and that. I mean, it was awful.
Didn't they have sex, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It was awful and amazing because I'd be like, oh my God, I'm watching a porn and my mom's not yelling at me, right? Because this is like.
Courtney said, she's like, I watch this all the time. She's like, I don't know why I was allowed
me too.
to. Like,
it's same.
But I think it was like, they're just roughing it out. But it's like,
either that or my mom had just clocked out.
Yeah,
like,
people are
you know what?
like,
Are they quiet?
Let the TV take over for a few minutes.
They're quiet in there, huh? Nothing's burning. Good.
Brooke, she said, like, as a kid, loved movies. I mean, she would go to the movies. The mom, like, kind of got into cinema.
Which is...
almost though that could be the mom being like, let's go study. Who knows? It's hard to say what.
But also, no, she was like a partier. She was like, I love this. We're going to the movies at 10 a.m. or something crazy, right?
And also probably a good form of escapism for somebody who's a mom who's, like, super... And she said, I always wanted to, like, be characters, which is also kind of a way of, like, losing your reality.
Disassociating.
Yeah, so she kept saying that as an adult.
And it is so dangerous to do that because I do it my whole life, same thing. But obviously I didn't go through what she went through. Probably would have enjoyed that. You
were more successful.
I'm just kidding.
Especially as a kid.
I definitely was more successful. I made more money painting addresses than most kids. You never had a job when you were young?
Not at that age.
Really?
No.
I guess so.
Whatever. So then they get into Pretty Baby. She's 11. She played, there's an adult sex worker who is Susan Sarandon.
One of my other faves.
Raising her young daughter, who's Brooke. Mm-hmm. The scene you were talking about is they're legitimately bidding on Brooke Shields. An 11-year-old kid. And these like, old white men are like, $100. $200. I'm like, oh my God.
She goes, I'm glad it was you. And he goes, really? Why?
So some creep businessman's like, $500. And that's when she says, I can feel the steam right through my dress. I was like,
it fucked me up when she said that.
Disgusting.
That fucked me up.
To be that the other actor, the man, I'd be like, I don't think I want to take this part.
Well, the other guy who was watching, like, again, I've never seen the movie. And I know that guy from other things. When he was looking on, and I'm assuming he was the guy who was truly in love with her. And maybe was her caretaker.
Carradine.
Yeah.
Keith Carradine.
Oh, it was Keith Carradine. Yeah. And the way he looked.
He was like leering, kind of jealous.
Yeah. And I was like, oh my God, now I have to see this fucking movie.
Well, the madam, like, I'm assuming who was her madam, they're like, how old is she? And she's like, oh, what do you want me to get arrested? She's old enough. And I was like, ugh. Ugh.
Holy shit.
And the mom's like, good stuff, Brooke. It's good. She had her first ever kiss during this movie on screen.
Yeah.
Like Millie Bobby Brown. That's like part of my problem is like, this is still going on. And this isn't over.
He was the one that was yelling at her, don't make this face, don't make this face. Oh, yeah, this is continuing.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's like, we haven't changed.
There's not a lot of change here.
No, that's what's sad.
But
we're still doing this to young girls and women.
The French director, he was the one that said,
yeah, so she was going to kiss this dude, Keith Carradine, who I believe was 29. She's fucking 11 years old. And not only do you have to kiss this person, you have to kiss them on screen. There's people in the room. There's cameras. There's lights. The director's mad. She keeps scrunching her face like when he's going to kiss, like.
I'm going to be real honest.
The co-star tells her, just make believe. Just make believe.
It's not.
Like,
you said it's not real.
Yeah, like. It is real.
And he whispered it in her ear. Look, just make it like it's not real.
But it is real.
Yeah.
Oh, she said I learned to compartmentalize at a young age, like in reference
in all
to this.
honesty, I don't know what was wrong with me, but at 11, if I was in that movie, I probably would have straddled that man and made out with him. I know,
Jeez.
and I apologize, but
real hard worker.
Wooly was not a
They're
sex
like, that's
worker.
not in the script.
But we just had this argument at my mother's house because they were saying people are too young to have those thoughts, and I'm like, hold on a second. And then I called up my brothers to verify it. They were like, yeah, we did the same thing. And I was like, oh, thank God. And I don't know why.
Guys too?
Meaning like we thought about that stuff at a very early age. Jeez. Sex. And I don't know why. Maybe because we grew up faster.
It's in your genes. It's your mom and so many kids.
Or just like
reproduction.
Watch them fucking Blue Lagoon. I'm like, I have to go to an island to rub one out. Like,
you grew up with all guys. You grew up in like a locker room.
Yeah, true.
You probably heard crazy shit all the time.
And they would talk about it. Yeah, I guess so.
Like, I don't know. Dick sucked and you're a young girl getting dressed.
There was one girl particular that slept with a few of my brothers, and we were young. And she would make me, she goes, I'll turn the air conditioner on down here if you watch the door from my mom. Yeah, and I was like, oh, okay. So if her mom came, I'd have to knock.
That was your Blue Lagoon.
And I was like, you could put the air conditioner on? You're not going to get in trouble for that? I was so excited.
You're like, oh, I feel great in here. You're like,
how embarrassing.
It's the middle of winter. crazy.
I didn't know what my brothers were doing, and then they told me, and I was like, oh.
Like,
so maybe I was
they're
just
coming down all sweaty. Even though the AC's on down
maybe
here.
I was just exposed to it, and we were too close and told each other everything. And
the French filmmaker, when called to answer why he's making this bullshit, he said, my job is to make films and not explain them.
Yeah, I'm not explaining my kiddie porn, you piece of shit.
Great answer.
Ugh.
You know, you do need to explain it because you're making it. What kind of answer is that?
Need to bring him up on charges. Calvin Klein as well. He's in
Calvin Klein.
He's on my fucking list. This piece of shit.
He gets to do
I'm
it later.
throwing out. I have a jacket in the car, Calvin Klein. I'm throwing it out, you piece of shit.
When Brooke is 12, she poses nude on a magazine.
Yeah.
What 12-year-old doesn't want to pose nude?
I mean,
when you're feeling it.
I was kind of an exhibitionist too. That was another thing my mom used to yell at me. I didn't know. I was comfortable being naked.
Baby Barb loves.
Does she?
She's 5, but
I love it. Same. I was always that way.
I'm just like, can you put something on? She's like, want to wrestle? I'm like, not with a naked.
This was later.
I mean, put some pants on. And then get back to me.
I feel uncomfortable that I have to ask you twice. Can you put some pants on?
Yeah, constant. It's constant.
Wait,
my son, not the same way.
Really?
Oh yeah, like even when she was a baby, just seemed to prefer.
I love you, Baby Barb. That's my girl right there.
Being in a diaper.
Because here's the thing.
Whereas my son likes to be clothed.
Oh,
they're different.
That's impressive. See, there was a fight. Somebody was arguing. It was either my sister, my mom, one of my brothers, and all I heard was my mom yelling. And I'm very extremely, insanely protective of my mom. Even if it's a sibling talking shit to her, I'll kill him.
You're like a dog.
I'm crazy.
You're like a dog who protects the owner.
I came downstairs flying. And I live my mom is still in the same row home we grew up in. So it's a tiny little row home. So you can hear everything, even if you're in the shower.
Don't
everything.
be modest. It's a big
Plus,
house.
there was a big hole in the wall. So I can definitely hear nobody's business.
Glory hole?
Probably. It did look in the tub. God damn it, you perverts.
Yeah, the plumber was like, ooh,
no.
look at this.
It was like they were fixing something and then we couldn't fix the wall. So the
like,
plumbing was exposed.
Do I hear French behind that wall?
Oui. Put your legs up.
I do not need to explain. What are you doing over there?
Splash in the water. Oui.
Stop making this scrunched face. You're like, what is he doing?
He's punching me. No. So I heard them arguing, and I ran downstairs with only a towel on my head.
Jeez.
And I was completely, and my mother goes, really?
She's like,
the whole argument stopped.
She's like, you're like, I achieved my goal.
I was probably 15. I got to be honest. Like I was.
Jeez.
I'm such an idiot.
Nudist
Meanwhile,
colony.
you could see right in. You know, it's very the street's very small. The neighbor could have been just like, why is she? I'm sure they can draw my body from memory in my neighborhood.
You say like when you were 12, you're pretty much posing nude on the magazine with her.
I would have brooked out. I got to be honest. I would have been like, look at this, guys. You believe it?
Brooke was shocked because there was such a huge blowback about Pretty Baby. Because she was like, I just saw it as like work.
She got brainwashed by the French director who was
and her mom was like, this is fine.
Her mom. Well, her mom.
She's like, I never felt awkward or like weird about any of it.
Sure, because they're
and
professional.
They're telling her like, no, this is
fine.
They're
manipulating. They're professional predators.
But then there was like this huge blowback, and she was kind of confused, like, whoa, what happened?
Wait, it's artsy. I was wearing pearls and a negligee. What's the problem?
One of the talking head women could have been glasses. Could have been the lady with the nose ring. I apologize to these women. I don't forget their names.
Yeah, we'll call you Weird Glasses and then Weirder Glasses.
She said just blaming Brooke's mother is like whitewashing it. But I agree. But also the mom is responsible. But it's not only the mom's fault.
Sure.
Obviously, she's not making these roles.
Right.
But she's
not writing
she
them.
is part of it.
She's
but yeah,
picking them.
There's
she
a bigger
is the agent.
Yes. Do you remember they were on a talk show?
Yes.
Some interviewer turns to Brooke Shields, who's like what? Like, I don't know, 10, because they kept like kind of flashing different.
Yeah,
eras,
they kept going back.
She's a kid, and they're like, "Oh,
was it Merv?"
They're like, "I can't help but notice your mom's complexion is just that of an alcoholic." And I was like, "Oh my God, what is this, roast battle?" Like the huge.
Wait, was that Merv Griffin?
I don't know who it was. It was like it seemed like a well-known. I was like, who says that to a kid?
He's like, look, I could see
they have a tip?
busted capillaries in your face, and we know that's an alcoholic.
Oh, my grandma had those. Do you think he had a tip on the mom being a drunk, or do you think just that was just an observation?
He's just trying to out it, and maybe.
But who said like, what if you're like, I have rosacea? Like that's a bold. That's a big bomb. Statement. That's a bomb drop. And Brooke, that's when I was like, Brooke is savvy because she's like, oh, she has allergies.
Yes,
which obviously
that's right.
She knew.
Her eyes, it gets dry right here.
She knew she was a huge alcoholic. But was able to handle that at such a young age is crazy.
Wow. I didn't even put that together. Because I was just like, oh, that was fucked up. Did he said that? Oh, he has allergies. Like
yeah, she had an answer ready to go. Like she'd even addressed it before.
Yeah.
Or knew like that.
People are gonna say this.
I was like, what
People
a question.
People are gonna notice
on camera. What kind of interview? Those interviews are definitely different then than they are now. You don't get that.
Well, there was one, I wrote it down. It was Johnny Carson. Great joke, but just.
The delivery, though, was kind of lame, I thought.
Great joke, though, but awful at the same time.
I forget the joke,
wait,
but
I wrote it down. I'll find it. But wait, so, yeah, because that's people picking her apart.
It got into Brooke taking care of her mother. Her friend saying that her mom would come home wasted, like her mom would be gone. Brooke would like kind of know the procedure.
Yeah.
Barricade herself in a room, lock the door. And then you kind of hear the mom come and go, make a lot of noise, and then like, all right, it's safe to go back out into the house, which is crazy. As a kid, it's crazy.
No, I lived it, so it's not too crazy.
Brooke said, I felt, as an adult, I felt such a responsibility to keep my mom alive.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's a big burden as a kid. She said, the movie sets were the safest place for me emotionally. I only had to be responsible for myself, which is like, again, very sad.
It's terrifying.
She's like, oh, I just need to go to work and like I only have to care about me and I'll pose naked. Yeah. But that's better than the horror of my home life at times. The
montage of the commercials that she wound up doing, like the
Calvin Klein.
Yeah. But there was others. Calvin Klein was disgusting.
Ugh.
You're on my shit list.
What a campaign. Jesus.
And how about his interview?
Yeah, we'll get to that, but yeah, it's not good.
But anyway, go ahead. So where are we?
So we're going to, this is when they get into Blue Lagoon. She's 15, tons of nudity. The director, during an interview, this scumbag goes, it's real. You're seeing her go from a girl to a woman during the filming. I'm like, this is disgusting.
Because I remember, like, she had her period. It was a whole thing.
That's a disgusting way, though, to describe a film.
It's burned in my brain what happened to her. Like, in that movie. I mean, like.
Talk about growing up in front of the camera. I mean, legitimately naked growing up in front of the camera.
And at that point, I probably, no, I don't remember. I probably hadn't. I don't remember when it came out. 80?
It's pretty early,
and then I didn't see it till years later because
they played it. It was on TV. Was it on cable or like what channel was this on that so many people were seeing it?
I'm gonna assume
HBO,
which in our neighborhood was called Prism in the 80s.
Prism?
Because I don't think HBO exists. I don't know what year HBO started, but we had Prism, which was a cable channel. Because we're all on the spectrum, so.
How dare you? Brooke. She said the irony of this movie, like being sexual, is that she wasn't in touch with her own sexuality.
Yeah.
So she's playing it, but like doesn't really even know, like in her own life, what's going down. So this is Calvin Klein. They get into she does a series of ads for Calvin Klein, and it's her putting on jeans, and the camera just all of a sudden just like, hyper focuses.
Were they doing yoga back then?
She was like stretching. She was spread eagling.
Her leg, I remember that commercial.
But they're going in like tight on her ass.
In her vagina.
Like right in.
The cavity.
Right in.
I was like, is this a gynecologist visit or a fucking commercial?
And they had her just like saying like inane bullshit, but like all these crazy posing and like it was, I mean, what a bunch of ads.
And she's like, for me, it was an acting.
And one of them, she's sucking her thumb at the end. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is this, man? This is crazy.
You're sick.
In that ad,
you're sick, Calvin Klein.
In that ad, she's like, and this is she's not improv, this is what they gave her a script.
Yeah.
She's like, I used to be a child. I spoke like a child, but like now I'm grown up. And
right.
I was like,
now I'm a woman. Whoa.
And all these guys are like, yeah, but you look still like a child.
Meanwhile, CBS banned it. That commercial.
Yeah. There was blowback. There was blowback on that as well.
CBS was like, we're not airing this.
Someone talking about the ad said,
and that's in a time when ads kept your network afloat.
Yeah, big money.
Yeah.
Well, also, the Calvin Klein jeans, even despite the blowback, boosted their sales by 3,000%. You know how much money they made off this? Fucking crazy. I
forgot hers was Calvin Klein. I should have, when I saw the commercial, I go, oh yeah, but
I don't
for some
remember
reason I thought it was Sassoon. Because back then, the name brand pants were so big. In the 80s, like, this is why I had a job. Because if I wanted Jordache jeans or Sassoon or what was the other one? Vidal Sassoon.
That was hair, wasn't it?
Hair?
Vidal Sassoon's a hair guy.
Or whatever. Sassoon was the name of the brand. It might have been connected. I don't remember. No, Vanderbilt. Gloria Vanderbilt's. Those were
Benetton was big.
Benetton was big, but these were like the top. If you had Jordache, oh my God.
Well, they were interviewing young girls in the mall, like teens, like my school clothes budget's like $2,000, maybe $3,000.
Fuck.
It's like, man,
dude, I
keeping
had
up with the
none
Joneses.
of these. That's just why I was painting address and chewing on Fruity Pebbles, because I would work any job I could. My dad's typewriter, whatever I could do, just to get money to buy shell top Adidas and Jordache jeans.
Run DMC. Someone talking about the ads, I think it was in the past, because saying this now wouldn't be great. They're like, camera just lovingly caresses her body. Like, oh, Jesus.
And you watch it. It's molesting her. The fucking camera is molesting her. And that's Calvin Klein doing that. You're a sick man.
Being a kid actor is obviously hard enough.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, I think he is. There are kids who just act and have trouble, like it's hard. But imagine throwing in nudity and all the sexual stuff. Like that really ups it.
Again, I would have been fine with it, but nobody was pushing me. I'm gonna break my mom's balls.
You should have been like, "Hey, why do you want?
Come on, I could be somebody."
More like Mrs. Shields. Calvin Klein. They asked him about all this.
That was the joke.
What?
Gallagher's joke.
I wrote down that they showed Gallagher.
Yeah.
Doing bits. Not with watermelons, by the way.
No, he wasn't smarshing anything.
Just doing real bits. He's like, Brooke Shields sounds like a sexual device. How was your date? It was terrible. She was wearing a Brooke Shields. By the way, Argus Hamilton has a similar joke about Dick Cheney.
Ooh,
might be some years later theft.
Some little crossover there, buddy.
So Calvin Klein, they're like, what are, these ads are risque. And he's like, yeah, so what? So maybe I do cross the line. I'm a bad boy. What do you want? I'm a bad boy? That's his answer?
I want you beaten. That's what I want.
I think there should be
grandkids to see this and not like you.
A years later boycott on Calvin Klein for his perverse.
Absolutely disgusting.
I don't think I've never knew that he was a pervert until this.
No,
So I'm a bad boy? That's your answer?
Now I'm trying to think of other Calvin Klein ads.
Yeah, we might have to go back. Was Marky Mark in the Calvin Klein with the undies?
Maybe. His pants were down.
I think he was.
So at least you cross over, you do both.
But yeah, he just loves the skin, I guess.
Men and women. Young, but always young.
I like that some women in this were throwing out the term porno houses for places where you watch movies, like a theater, these porno houses. I was like, I've never heard this.
Who was? Okay, we were talking
about. Sounds like you grew up in a porno house with some of the.
Who was the guy? It was another talk show host. I never ever saw this person because
they all look kind of the same. All those
some of them, except for that one fucking nut with the hair and the mustache. What was that?
You don't remember that guy?
He looks like Weird Al.
He looks like Bob Ross.
Like Welcome Back, Kotter, and Bob Ross and Weird Al had a circle jerk.
He was the USA Today movie guy. But he would also do interviews. But he would also do. I used to love that look. Was that real hair?
Glorious.
Real hair or perm? It's such a look. I might get a perm just to boost my career.
How the fuck did he get on TV?
That guy is an unbelievable. He's like Super Mario meets like Bob Ross.
Holy shit!
Look this guy up. USA Today's. Gene Shalit, right? Yeah, Gene Shalit. Oh, what a look! Look at this look.
Holy shit! Look at that! Look at that there.
Handlebar mustache, bow ties.
Kept it all the years.
What a look. Gene Shalit.
Wow.
America's treasure.
I don't think
He's 97. Is he still alive?
Obviously.
I think he has this look now. He's in a nursing home looking like this.
Gene, if you have somebody that is combing your mustache at this age, I adore you.
He looks like he's got a real hairy chest. Look at him older. He looks like Bruce Valanche.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Shit. With the glasses.
Looks like Einstein if Einstein lived a long life.
And didn't invent anything.
What a look.
Oh, shit.
He looks like a crazy fucking homeless guy.
Holy shit. That was crazy.
What a look. Yeah, I loved every time he came on screen, I would love seeing Gene Shalit.
You see, here's the thing. At this point, I mean, I don't know what years he was active or whatever, but in my house, you would never watch anything like this.
Like USA Today?
Yeah.
What are you, a nerd?
Even my mom, she used to watch the talk shows, but late night, that was it.
Okay.
So I remember one guy, Dick somebody.
Dick
Cavett?
Yeah.
Maybe. Dick Cavett.
Probably.
Maybe. She liked him. She would wait for his monologue, then she would go to bed.
Well, staying up late.
But other than that, no talk shows. Everything was a movie or a TV show.
There's Dickie.
We didn't even pay attention to commercials. Yeah, she liked that guy.
Did you find it weird that Lionel Richie was just randomly a talking head in this for he didn't really add anything of any substance? It was just yeah, we were friends. I was like, okay.
Okay.
He looked like when he was young, Lionel Richie looked a lot like Pryor. It was the mustache.
A little bit.
It was like that era.
Clean cut Pryor.
Yeah.
That didn't grow up in a whorehouse like me. And,
yeah.
How dare you? I did not grow up in a whorehouse.
As an adult, Brooke said, and I thought this was telling, she's like, I wish my mom had picked things more carefully for me to do, and thought of how things could come back to bite us, after the fact, where she was just kind of picking whatever. And then speaking of that, she did nude pics at 9 years old, which at the time she said that no one made a big deal about it. And then 7 years later, some guy wanted to sell them because she had become such a huge sensation. The mom sues that guy. Brooke walks into court. She said a guy did the lick. A guy looked at her and gave licked his lips like a fucking weirdo. Into the court. And that reminded me of Pam Anderson when she had to go to court. And it was all about to Brooke, do you like posing naked? Does it make you feel good?
You enjoyed it.
Yeah, you loved it.
Yeah, some of the
yeah, they showed the interview, and I was like, why? She was like, why is this about me?
But that's why people hate lawyers, because that's what they do.
Yeah.
They want to win their case, and they want
the money.
Say the worst things ever.
And then if you had morality, you'd be like, you know what? I shouldn't do this as a child,
Sure, but that's also probably creeping in her brain, so her speech wasn't as.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Speaking up for herself wasn't really easy.
Brooke and her mom
wait a minute,
lost
that made perfect sense.
They lost the case.
Unbelievable.
The guy got the right to sell and print this photo of her at 9 years old, naked.
That person, I hope, died a horrible death.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're selling pictures of a baby.
Knowingly.
Just
for the money.
And years later, just because she's famous, very relevant. But my question is this, those pictures, she was naked. It was from the movie Pretty Baby? Or
no, it was just a separate deal. Yeah, it was she was all dressed up and
did? Okay.
She was
makeup.
It
was in the tub. It was weird.
She said it was kind of showing her as a regular 9-year-old and then this hyper sexualized 9-year-old.
And what was that in a commercial or was that?
I don't know if it was for just a series of pictures. I don't know really what it was.
See, that's fucked up. That's where I couldn't figure it out. But I got so angry with the guy selling them years later.
The guy they said was a friend of her and her mom's.
Right.
And she said she was more hurt by the betrayal of this guy that she thought was a friend than the actual content.
It was a favor they did for him. Hey, let's and now, I'm going to fucking exploit this kid,
which is disgusting.
That's now a teenager.
Brooke said,
really fucking with me on hating men.
I'm watching it. I was like, this is not good. Brooke said she was seared, her words, by being a pretty face and a sex symbol, and she describes herself as I'm nerdy and an intellectual. I'm not. Sure. That's not who I am. That's just who. The image and what she became, what people projected onto her.
Even the cute videos with her and her stepsister. They were so cute. With your stepsister, right? Or
and she was fake interviewing her stepsister.
Sure, but she was so cute and playful.
She was having fun. Yeah, she wasn't look at me. I'm this whatever.
I'm bougie. That's what I mean. They kept her humble, which is impressive somehow. Somehow they did that.
Then it gets into Endless Love, which we talked about. It's a teen love story about teens pretty much having sex the whole time. She said she would disassociate during the sex scenes. Not good. I don't think so, like a young teen, she had to go to a place to learn about what an intervention was, and told her mom to go to rehab. The mom's like, I'll go for you. I'm not going to go for me.
Which is immediately, just don't go. If you feel like you're going to go for somebody else, don't do it.
Mom's doing interviews like, oh, yeah, I'm great. I'm sober. Brooke's like, my mom was sober for a week, maybe a month. And then her mom told her, no one's going to control me. They get into the mom's past. Mom had like a very tough upbringing, like kind of like, which led like kind of, I think Brooke was being defensive of like, look, my mom had a very hard life. Her mom wasn't great. Like kind of the cycle.
Jesus. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. Falling into it. Like the mom fell into.
The mom repeated the cycle.
Yeah.
Where Brooke broke the cycle, broke the chain.
Which is very impressive.
Brooke, other teen or young stars have done this, and I always find it impressive. Brooke went to Princeton, went to college. A lot of them don't want to, but yeah, to get the grades required, and she spoke, you tell, even young, was super bright, and now super bright. But to go to Princeton, and have all this going on is crazy.
But also, now I have to give the mom props
for making the emphasis on the schooling on set.
Staying when she called and said, I want to come home, I want to quit. Yeah. She made her stay.
The mom said, Brooke said the mom, it was like the most selfless thing she ever did, despite wanting her to come home, because they had a codependent relationship. Said, like, you'll never forgive yourself, stay.
Yeah.
And she stayed and loved it.
She became dependent on the school. She developed a different codependence.
But it was interesting because how Brooke was raised. She goes to Princeton, and she said, like, she thought people probably thought she thought of herself a certain way, so people avoided her.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hated that because my whole life, like everyone flocked, like I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So she's like, I felt they said she did an interview. Her and her mom called each other 5 times a day. This is pre-cell phones. You had to go to a landline. Are you still?
I'm that person.
You're still on there.
I'm that person. I torture my mother, and my mother
5 times.
Only recently, like literally, people would come in my mom's house and be like, "Oh, you're on with Eleanor?" Like, because she's like, "Yes." Now she gets annoyed with me, but because she's in her 80s. But I would call her constantly.
And this is landline days.
In
the interview,
I had
Brooke's
a calling card.
Brooke's like, we call on breakfast, and then like I do like a midday check-in, and like a later in the day, and then like a good night. I was like, that's a lot.
I did it. I would call my grandmother. I was terrible when I first moved to LA. I was terrible, and I had a calling card, so you would pay it. Like it was like having a second or third phone bill because I had my regular phone, and then I had to pay. I used the calling card to pay. And I was like, oh, it was awful. And my grandma would go, your money's adding up. And I'm like, oh, don't worry about the money.
She's like, I got to go. I got things to do. Leave me alone.
I don't want to talk to you, bitch.
She's like, take the hint. You're like, I don't know.
I even bothered my dad. I would call my dad. I'm a weirdo. And my dad, I used to do a joke about it because one time he goes, and this was like, I'm in my 30s at this point, and I called my dad, and he goes, I have a customer. And I was like, in your typewriter store? If you don't want to talk to me, just tell me. Like, because that's what it was. But he really said that. He goes, I got a customer. And he put the guy on the phone. The guy was like, hello. He was like 1,000. I was like, all right.
He's like, thanks for doing that. You can go back on the street. Gave him $5.
I can't talk to this fucking kid anymore.
Brooke sadly realized that she can have an opinion when she was in college. She's like, I understood, like, oh, now I can kind of think for myself.
Also just speaking up, period.
Yeah, saying, like, this is what I want to do.
Having an opinion on anything.
Yeah. She wrote a book I thought was funny. They approached her to write a book.
Oh, you motherfucker.
A guide about going to college. And she wanted to write like something serious about how she like missed her mom and thought about leaving.
And they bring up leg warmers.
In the first chapter, they rewrite it. It's like, I love leg warmers. And if you want it, you can eat however you want. You can have an ice cream sundae late at night. Like, it was so stupid. And she goes, you know what? Write whatever you want. That's the book you guys want to write.
That's what I mean. She lost it already. She caved immediately. Like,
but she just like, fuck it. I don't want to fight. You know, I'm not fighting this. Like, go ahead.
I don't know. I got mad at that. Because I was like, you just fucking went out on your own. You're just learning. Fuck these people.
And then in this book, everyone just gravitated to her just saying, it was like a little blurb of being like, I'm a virgin. And people freaked the fuck out about it. That was what Gallagher's joke was about.
Exactly.
And then he smashed the watermelon.
And then, but Carson's was worse. Carson's was like really dirty.
Forget what it was.
But it was something like.
He said, Brooke Shields is in college. She got an A in anatomy.
Her own.
Hers.
I was like,
hey
oh my God.
I was like, Johnny getting horny over it.
Holy shit.
One of the women talking heads said, you're either a slut or a virgin. You can't be neither or both.
Which is so annoying, people.
But that's even today. Look at Britney Spears was like labeled early as the virgin.
Right.
And now it's like, what a whore. I mean, but
we can't win with you people. By you people, I mean men only.
They had, in our world, an Eddie Murphy joke about Michael Jackson. Because there were rumors her and Michael Jackson were dating.
Yeah. And then I love that she was like, wait, what are you saying?
Because Michael Jackson did an interview with Oprah, and he's like, I'm dating Brooke Shields. She goes, she called him. She's like, I'm with my boyfriend. What the fuck are you doing? And he's like, what?
And again, Dean Cain. He got around this.
But
guy.
I think Michael Jackson was using her as an early
absolute beard. Yeah.
And he was telling her we needed to have a kid together. And I think that was he wanted the media to be like, oh, he's having a kid. Like, he's not doing anything weird.
Yeah, how
nothing
can he
to
be doing
see here.
Anything weird?
She described her relationship with Michael as very childlike, which I thought was.
She's a child porn star, and no, I'm just kidding.
And he's like, "Oh, you want to play cars?
Yes.
You want to go to the amusement park?
Dress up."
Remember when she was with him a lot in this. They were showing videos and stuff.
Seeing that,
she was going to like the Grammy. She was going to like award shows.
That's
with him.
where Lionel came in.
Riding limos.
Yeah.
By the way, did you notice the guy who coached Pam Anderson on Broadway was in this a lot?
Yes.
As a talking head.
I got excited.
He worked with Brooke on Broadway as well.
Yeah.
And he said, like, my mom had a lot of thoughts about Brooke and Michael Jackson. They were saying, like, she was appropriating black culture.
Absolutely.
By hanging out with him.
Absolutely.
And Eddie's joke was, you know how no one considers Michael Jackson black is that Brooke Shields is parading around with him and no one said a word about it. Paraphrasing, he did. He said other stuff. I thought that was a funny bit. So then, Brooke was with Dean Cain, just like Pam Anderson.
I mean,
she had him in college though. He was a Princeton student,
which is impressive.
Now he's a big right winger.
He was. Oh, really?
Trump
he
guy,
was. What was he? Superman.
Superman. Yeah.
Yeah. That's.
Yeah, he was with Pam Anderson. I mean, this guy, Brooke Shields.
Is he married to Tori Spelling now?
No.
Or am I messing that up?
No, it's a guy named Dean. It's not Dean.
Oh, okay. I just maybe made that correlation because I'm an idiot.
I was unclear on this. Did she lose her virginity to Dean Cain, or was she going to and then ran away?
No, she did.
And then ran away after.
And then ran away after.
Naked down the hall. And he's like, it's okay.
Thought she did something
when
wrong.
She built it up in her head, and her parents are big Catholics.
Yeah, she's like, nobody was pulling my foot or twisting my toes, so I don't know if
I
made the right face.
No one's filming it. And he's like, it's fine. Like, you're still the same person. Like, it's okay.
I still love you.
And she's like, oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Poor thing. But that's her struggle. Like, for her not to fucking snap, to me, again, is so impressive.
Yeah.
Even then, like, she's like, this isn't right. This isn't real. It's not on a film. It's not.
Well, obviously, if she had been disassociating so much, obviously your views on sexuality would be so skewed.
Mm-hmm. And then
like
she was like,
issues.
I was connected, and I don't know if I did it right. Or
just like in your head, like you just have weird, like you've been sexualized as a young kid. So there's like just a lot of weird emotions and thoughts must be swirling around.
As weird as this outfit. I like it, though.
I'm going to start going up on stage as this. After the second episode, I thought, like a lot of these, I don't know if I thought they could have condensed it a little bit.
Again, yeah.
Because it was so front loaded. Because a lot of her stuff was as a kid, teen, you know, like, and then the second was more of her as an adult. But I thought you could have put that in. You could have just crammed it together. I thought.
Yeah, but again,
or make a movie length thing, instead.
There you go.
Two. After college, her career stalled, and she's like, I had a rough period of rejection, and then I was like, she was saying how bad rejection was. I was like, you should experience it without the highs.
Every single commercial, and those European commercials were probably huge for her and huge money.
She was doing like Japanese ads after college. She was doing like anything to work.
Oh, right, Japanese. But like, even,
for,
I thought she said
stereos. Yeah. She was doing some stuff here. Yeah, she was just trying to work again. Like, how do I get back into this?
But I do remember seeing her on it felt like every single commercial or every single minute. I don't know why. She
was big in the tabloid. It was a lot of like, Brooke Shields, Brooke Shields,
yeah.
Brooke Shields.
And I just remember thinking, her fucking eyebrows are perfect. I hate her.
Well, then she's like, now my eyebrows are a thing? Like, why?
Oh,
when she was
right.
She was younger. She's
like,
I guess my eyebrows are a thing that people want. Like, why? Like, why is this the thing? Like, I don't get it. Because it's just you. You know, like when you're you, it's
you don't
like.
know.
You're like, what? Like if someone's like, your hair. And you're like, wait,
She's
what?
a trendsetter. Her hair was pretty too.
So she
not as pretty as mine when I was a kid.
Takes a darker turn. She's an adult. Thought she knew this person. She never named him. Some sort of either film exec or producer.
Yeah.
Thought she was going to a work.
Rotting somewhere too.
Thought she was going to a work meeting about a possible movie role. They go to a dinner. There's no talk about the movie whatsoever. This is a story that we've heard a million times at this point.
So
goes
many
to
women.
she's like, I want to get a cab. He's like, oh, I'll help you get a cab. Come back to my hotel room, which is obviously very counterintuitive. But when you trust someone, you're like, okay, yeah, sure.
Well, yeah. How well do you trust someone? I mean, but here's the thing when it comes into blaming yourself.
Yes.
Like, oh, well, I knew him, so I went to the.
Which she did blame herself after, she said.
Of course.
Yeah. So then she goes to the room. She's like, I didn't sit. She's like, I knew I wasn't staying. Because he's like, yeah, come in.
Comes my favorite part.
She's like, I just wanted to use the phone. Guy comes out of the bathroom naked.
No, she was using his binoculars. Why do you have binoculars?
True.
Why do you have binoculars in a hotel room?
What is this, the movie Sliver? Remember that movie with Sharon Stone?
She's like, I was looking through the binoculars. I'm like, what?
At the window. And the guy,
what is this guy doing? You think he's looking at people and seeing what they're eating?
So then he like storms out naked. She said is like legit like on her. She starts like kind of wrestling a little bit, like, whoa, what, like, and
this guy just fucking tackles her.
And then she's like, I just froze, and then so she tells her security guard. By the way, a security guard. Did they ever say, was he a cop, an ex-cop or something?
They didn't.
He looked like a nerd. He wasn't like a tough-looking guy.
Yeah, but it's a presence because obviously he was with her through her young life.
She was getting mobbed a lot. Like, what was that guy going to do?
Well,
you know, a lot of those people have like a 6'10", like,
but you never
huge.
know.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what was his background? Was he some crazy martial artist?
Yeah.
But now he looks like just like a dorky.
Also, like a presence of an adult.
He also may have been in charge of like he hires bigger, you know,
right.
He hires the guards. Like he may have been the head of. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
He became kind of like, I guess, like an older brother. He said he felt like to her.
Yeah.
So then he was crying in present day talking about this because he's like,
I cried.
Because he said
I cried.
She talked to him about this incident then, and he goes, "You were rape. That's rape." And she's like, you know what? I can't. I'm not going to go to the cop. Like, I can't fight this. Like,
women, we'll never win that fucking, unless you have literal video, or I don't even know if that would work, to be honest.
But it's also too,
every fucking person
with how she was raised, she may like, I don't want that PR, you know, that to be my narrative.
Yeah.
That like, because obviously you trial like big, because she was so, everything she did was so scrutinized. So it's like, imagine having a rape trial with this guy who obviously I'm sure was well known, powerful, which is scary to go up against. She still wants to work, right? Which is that fear of like, I'll be blackballed.
You know, trying to convince people that she wasn't a child pornographer.
Yeah.
And lost that case. So
she was basically like, whatever, I'm going to bury this. Like, that seemed to be how she coped, is like.
I hope the guy who did this in the courtroom wasn't the guy who raped her.
Jeez, I mean.
I'm kidding. That's so
But
mean.
It's crazy.
But it's sickening. It's so fucked. Like, I don't know. I get angry. I cried too. I gotta be honest. I cried because I hate that.
The security guard, you could tell, was just like, he's like, I just hope I just kept telling her, like, I hope you're not blaming yourself. Like, this is not nothing to do with you.
I've been with guys that I didn't want to be with, and I'm like, ugh, we're halfway here. I've done that. I don't consider that necessarily.
That happens that's happened to me. That happens to guys as well.
Like,
yeah, it's just kind of like an uncomfortable after the fact. You're like,
I started this,
or like probably shouldn't have been, whatever.
Yeah, like not.
But this is like,
this is bad.
She said, I said no and was crying.
Yeah,
that's what the security guard goes. How is there mixed messages in that?
No, in all honesty, even if I started something and started like crying and saying no, please stop, please no to stop. That's not good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, and most of the time that happened, it was like with a boyfriend where I'm like, ugh. Yeah, I was kind of over them, but I still did it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Or one time was a one night-ish stand. It actually was a one night stand, yeah. And he was very aggressive. And you know what? I was getting pissed off, and I choked him because I was like, "Oh, he wants to get hitty," and I fucking choked him, and he fell asleep, and I left.
You choked him unconscious?
I did. I didn't fuck him. I didn't go the distance. But he wanted to be hands-on-y like that, so I did that.
He must have woke up.
But
like,
we
what
were
happened?
both kind of fucked up. We were both wasted. And I don't drink a lot, so I know when I'm drunk.
Jesus.
But I did have bruises. I did have bruises on my face. Because he was being heavy-handed, and I was like, oh, okay.
Scary world out there, everybody. Be careful.
Yeah.
Be safe.
You're not all as crazy as I am.
Then it starts getting into, it goes from that into her relationship with Andre Agassi, which I forgot about. I knew about it, I forgot about it.
Same.
How terrible and disgusting was his hair?
You know, it really was.
It was two-tone. It was sweaty looking.
Big Agassi.
Looks
I was
fake.
a big tennis fan
Looked
back
like
then.
a wig.
Yeah. I feel like people said that before.
Looked disgusting.
But him getting angry at her.
He looked a lot like George, like he was going for a George Michael vibe. He had the stubble beard.
Yeah, the shadowy
hair,
thing, whatever you call it.
It was just a creepy fucking look.
But that is such a telltale thing of like he surrounded her with all of his people. Like the security guard said, I went to say congratulations, and I realized I don't know anybody around her now.
Yeah, this is all hit her. But they said, I forget who said it, but I was like, it's a great point. All she knew was being controlled. So getting away from her mother was going to another controlling relationship.
Absolutely.
Because that's all she knew how to do. Even to get free of one, it was like, oh, I can go to this one.
Codependency is a serious thing. And hard to break.
She divorced her mother in a similar way. Not Agassi. Her mother left her father.
Exactly.
They shared. She's like, oh, we owned an office building. I'm like, wait, owned an office building? It was like all their stuff, her and her mom's, like I guess like through the years, stuff they saved, paperwork, whatever. And so Brooke didn't tell her mom and just
took it all,
emptied the building, moved it to Vegas, went under Agassi's umbrella, like with his reps, his people.
She is similar.
She said her mom never forgave her for that. Like, you didn't tell me.
I believe it.
Like, it was a big betrayal. Obviously, it's like they were close, very close.
But I wonder if her father ever forgave the mom for doing what she did.
No, he probably didn't. I would guess.
Yeah.
Goes around, comes around.
Biatch.
Mrs. Shields. So Agassi's getting more controlling. She was on Friends. She was like getting into comedic roles.
Again, the Pam Anderson thing.
Very similar to Tommy Lee. They said he would come on set. She's like, he's reading the script. I'm like, I was laughing at Agassi just like reading a Friends script to be like, yeah, okay, you can do this. It's all right.
Right. Like, oh, Friends is funny.
What does Agassi know about fucking scripts? He's a tennis player.
But also, like, it wasn't, I mean, maybe it's because she confided in him all the stories of being a kid and on set.
Maybe.
But then it became jealousy. Him breaking all his trophies. Fuck you. There's only one McEnroe fucknut.
So she was doing a scene where she had to lick. She was Joey's psychotic ex-girlfriend.
It was very funny.
So she had to lick his fingers.
Yeah.
And Agassi freaked the fuck out. She comes off set and he's like, everyone, I guess he was like is in the dressing room, whatever. He's like, everyone in that room.
It was a silly choice.
Making fun of me. Like, how dare you? She said he broke all of his tennis trophies. What a fucking weirdo.
Yeah. So
they got divorced. I'm surprised she lasted a few years later. I was like, a few years.
Oh, yeah. And then, well, because also she's taking a stand. She left her mom. So she don't know anything. Now she's dependent on this. And now that fucking blew up in her face.
Yeah, now it's like, now I have neither of them.
What do I do? My mom's pissed at me. I don't have anything.
She's like, we should have just been friends. We should have never got married.
And I'm sure Agassi's a great guy, nice guy. He just has the he went through jealousy.
But he was very similar. His dad was his controller.
Yes.
Pushed him in tennis.
That's right.
That's what they had in common. They were child prodigies, both pushed.
Right.
And
I was a big Agassi fan.
Yeah, who wasn't back then?
Yvonne Lindell was also
He was huge. Yvonne who?
Lindell. I say its name wrong.
Is it Lindell?
Lindell. Yvonne Lindell, beat. We used to say it like Rocky, beat.
Then I knew of the show. I don't even know if I knew she was on the show. Suddenly Susan. I know the title.
I heard it.
It was like her big comeback.
So many people were in it. Kathy Griffin, Sherry Shepherd. I was like, whoa, hey.
It was like a big comedic office show. And I didn't. It was like all pratfalls. It was like all her doing like very physical comedy. And she was like, Hey guys, can we do like some more stuff? Or
we got to get them to stop thinking about kiddie porn. So we're going to need you to fall down a flight of steps.
She just kept falling over and over. It's all like, whoa! Or just like she'd walk in and be like I slipped on a banana.
She's tall. So her arms were lanky. Like, it was kind of silly.
It was but it was like.
Wasn't Spade? Was Spade in that?
He was he?
Oh, no, do I make him?
He may be in the one with Rogan. Or no?
No, it's something, but it might be Heather Loughlin. It might be later. Okay. But anyway, I just remember, not Susan. I don't remember what years that was. It has to be 90s. But it's also the 90s sitcom, the quirky 90s sitcom that was like clear cut.
Impressive that she did make the comeback.
She knew.
And she did. She finished it.
What do you mean?
Like a lot of these people want to come back, and never get there. She did get back.
She got to being back. I see what you mean.
Then she did. So they briefly cover her marriage to this guy named Chris. Like they don't who is he? What does he do? Like it's just then she met Chris and they got married. I was like, wait, what? That's it?
Yeah.
He doesn't speak at all during the. He doesn't do a talking head. Nothing.
But Chris was.
He's a regular guy.
A regular guy. He's somebody I fell in love with. On this because
how bad was his tattoo?
Listens.
How bad was his tattoo?
Really bad. But funny. He made it funny.
Block letters.
You're gonna need a wide lens.
Just says Brooke. Pretty small. Terrible.
It's almost like Ari's.
Keep on trucking on his hip. Tiny. But what do you think of this? It's the font is 3. Maybe you should do a little bigger. Or somebody we know that has a tiny little tire.
A little tire with some fire coming off it.
I was like, oh, it's a terrible tat. Really. She said he understood her humor, which I think a lot of people don't.
Yeah.
Look to her as somebody who.
Well, they don't go, oh, this girl's probably hilarious. She was wearing pearls and lipstick at 9.
Naked. You know what bothered me is one of the talking heads was
in lingerie.
Like, no one looks to pretty women to be funny. Come on, nowadays, that's changed.
Especially Pam Anderson did, go back to that. Pam did her show, the book, I think it was called Pamela. She had a TV show in the 90s as well.
But that's Jenny McCarthy. That's a
Jenny McCarthy.
Come on, that's not true.
Yeah, I agreed.
Look at comics now. It's not only ugly people anymore. That's long gone.
Joan Rivers was making herself pretty to be that funny.
And a lot of the female comics now are they're doing their it's a different era. It's not
Tommy Lee's
it's
wife.
We've moved on from Roseanne. Those days are way in the past. John Candy and Roseanne
Phyllis Diller and
yesteryear.
Roseanne.
Yeah, it's like you
Kathy
look.
Griffin.
What's her name from Bob Newhart, who was a big female?
Oh yeah, Stephanie.
No, she's a famous, huge fame. Not
wait, but the girl in the Bob Newhart show was hilarious, and she was a very pretty girl.
No, I'm thinking
I don't think she was a comic.
There's a well-known.
Bob Newhart's my favorite. You know that, right?
And I didn't know that.
Yeah,
my brother Daryl. My other brother Daryl.
I could do all his bits too.
Really? He was best friends with Don Rickles.
Yes.
And they would go on double family trips. Them and their wives.
My favorite thing he does is when he does things that happen in our history. Them being in therapy, like Benjamin Franklin. So you have the kite. Now you did what with it? It's so good. It's so good.
I don't know.
Why would you take the kite out in the rain? It's the therapist trying to make sense of. So good. I go crazy.
Who was the bad orphan owner in Annie? Or the lady who ran it? That's a comedic woman, isn't it?
Carol Burnett?
Yes, that's what I'm thinking of. She was a wacky...
She wasn't in Bob Newhart's.
But she wasn't? Okay.
She might have done a guest thing, but she was huge.
So that was a bad example. But that's what I think of as
the girl, Stephanie, that played behind the desk, she had she was a savvy, what did you say? Southerny kind of.
Carol Burnett's what I think of as when I think of like old school.
Oh, I see.
Comics, like a weirdo, kind of weird looking, like.
Carol Burnett's also one of my tops.
But to say now, like attractive women, that's not true.
Sure, she wasn't good looking, Carol Burnett. Hilarious, but not.
That's hilarious.
Not gorgeous.
Well, you mean to tell me your mother's Carol Burnett and your father's Yoda?
No, your mother's Carol Burnett and your father's the CNN guy, or what is it? USA Today? What's his name?
Oh, Gene Shalit.
Gene Shalit.
They named shallot onions after that, or shallots after that guy. Then this part of it, I have no knowledge of this ever happening at all. So it gets into, she always said she always wanted kids, even from a young age, like always loved babies.
I thought the same. I did the same thing she did. I babysat all the time.
But you saw your friend have a kid at like 6.
Yeah,
and then
I was 15.
You.
She was 16.
You blew it.
She blew it.
So she did IVF. had a baby. And that, but the whole time she was talking, I was just like, oh, you had postpartum. Like everything she was saying.
Me too. I'm like, oh.
Like she's like, I totally withdrew. I want nothing to do with the baby. I was like, do I even love the baby? I would go into a room and just be like, told my husband, you deal with it. And then I'm just like, oh, you have.
But even those sick thoughts, like throwing the baby against the wall.
Yeah, that's postpartum. And
absolutely.
So it took a lot. Like,
but maybe it didn't have a name back then.
That's what I was wondering. They didn't really talk about that because I was like, was she kind of like the face of postpartum? Like it sounded like she like brought an awareness to it that didn't exist. She made like a law that got passed, like based on. She wrote a book about it because like she said like I guess
leg warmers in this book.
Yeah,
I gotta be honest.
I guess it just wasn't talked about, or just people didn't know. I don't know because I don't remember it, but it sounds like she kind of like made it a thing. That was a question I had. Is like, was it not that well known, or people didn't talk about it?
But like, also everything was always about her. Always about her. And now you have a baby. Now you have this other little girl that
who she hated.
It's gonna be about them, and it fucked with her head and made her. I don't know.
No, but it also is chemical. It's hormonal.
Sure, absolutely hormonal. Absolutely.
I had no recollection of this either. Tom Cruise like freaked the fuck out.
I remember this clearly.
How is he still working with all these transgressions?
Because, and you know what? He did later apologize, but it doesn't matter.
But he was forced to.
He was forced to. Yeah. I remember him specifically going after her, and I thought, what the fuck is wrong with? And for a minute, I was like, oh, Brooke Shields doesn't like her baby. And then I remember my sister saying, yeah, she just has postpartum. It was already out. Like it was a while after that he went after her.
There was a while where I would have trouble differentiating.
For her to retaliate the way she did, she had already been through it.
And I think she had gotten to the point of her life where she's like, you know what, I am going to speak up for my, like, fuck this.
Right, fuck him.
Where the young her would have been like, like would have danced around
Tom.
it.
He's a superstar. Fuck him. I'm with you. Bro.
I used to have trouble between postpartum and postmortem. And people were like, wait, what? I'm like, no, I meant like one with the baby. It's a big difference. But so Tom Cruise is like freaking out. He's like, postpartum's not a thing.
Yeah.
Like, she's going to see a psychiatrist. She's taking drugs. It was basically like, you need to be a Scientologist. That'll get you through it. Yes. He goes on Oprah. He's like freaking. I'm like, why does he care? Why do you even care?
But here's the thing. There's a giant difference from a chemical imbalance, a chemical, like hormonal thing. Like, because I get depressed, right? I don't know if you do. If I get depressed.
Most creatives do.
Okay. I get depressed, but it's not so bad. Like, there's not a chemical imbalance. I can take vitamins and go running. I can. But not everybody can.
Yeah.
Some people need meds. Those meds were created for people, not just to depend.
And he gets into like.
I have a very close friend that needs the fucking meds.
And he's like, she doesn't have them. She doesn't know about psychiatry. Like, he's getting into that. What do you know about it?
All of a sudden, you're fucking. Up. You learn this in Scientology?
Get on a wire and come down.
Yeah.
To the floor.
Let me see you run. I love when you run. He
runs weirdo.
In every
He's
fucking
a weird
movie.
fucking guy. Like, the more you learn about him, he needs a documentary. Like, someone needs to delve into him.
There you go. Yeah.
He's a fucking weird dude.
I want to know why he runs in every movie. Does he think he's like a track star?
I think he thinks he's a real life action. He says he can save people and all that. Like, if there's a car accident, I can save them myself. Like, because I'm on this level.
If I got in a car accident and I saw him sprinting down the 405,
fake teeth, tight black shirt,
at a whopping 5'6",
he thinks he can fight. I think. You know who was weird in this? Did you find that in the interviews, Judd Nelson was a fucking weird guy?
Well, no,
the way he talked was
so different.
But he also would be like, he would hit weird emphasis on words.
But he always did that.
He's like, and then she would be a star. Right. He would like go down.
But he always did that. I'm a big Judd Nelson fan.
It was weird.
So I remember, and that's right, he played her boss. I forgot, and I thought, he might have went through something and got sick because he looked so skinny. He did look different. I didn't recognize him at first.
He looks like Penn Jillette if Penn Jillette had like a lot of like some sort of. He was fighting something.
Until he started talking, I didn't realize it was him.
He had a shaved head.
Oh my God.
He had a big, long, like ZZ Top goatee. Yeah.
But again, his neck looked like maybe he went through
or maybe he was heavy and lost weight. I don't know.
No, he was never. He was always.
You know what it is?
I think it was cancer-y.
Could be.
Because he worked always.
The guy was hitting weird emphasis on weird times.
something. But I'm a big fan. So, and he was he's a good ally.
They kind of end it with like the mom gets dementia, starts getting like kind of weirder and weirder. Mm-hmm. She puts her in a home. There's like no real closure, no goodbye really, no like thanks for being my mom, no like you're a great daughter. It was just kind of like.
But with dementia, they're not going to remember it anyway.
But she also said like I had said goodbye to my mom like years before, like our relationship had already been kind of severed.
Yeah. There's that one interview with the mom and her where Brooke would look at her like she fucking hated her at that point. And that's when they kept showing it with the collar shirt. And she was not a hater, but like.
Kind of like, I'm over this.
Bitch, stop trying to control me. Like, I know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, she would just give her the look, listen to her, and kind of roll her eyes. That was where I was like, oh, she's disconnecting. Right.
Did you notice that now, like Brooke now, and I think she's just a lot more comfortable with who she's like kind of wacky. Like she wasn't.
But she was a nerd. Like she's
just kind of like whack. She was like looking at her pictures, like, oh, look at me there. I'm like, oh, I'm tired. Oh, look at me here.
Also at that dinner table, which is how they end it with
her. Do you notice her Sam Tripoli glasses, like oversized, almost sunglasses?
How dare you? Those are dicey, Sammy. Huh?
I like your glasses, Brooke. Those are nice.
The big frames are funny, but talking to the kids, like her daughter's beautiful.
Sure, one daughter's 16, the younger.
Both of them are beautiful.
By the way, I don't mention the second daughter's birth at all. Like, did she have like nothing? They didn't even say she was born.
No, yes, they did.
They did?
They said she had no problems the second time.
I missed that.
But could have been the meds and
she had in psychiatry.
The help with the psychiatry.
It's just different. They're different.
Yeah, because I can't think of her name, but she said when she was born, like, no problems, nothing. Like Regan was first,
and then somebody else.
But what I'm saying is,
second daughter's a model. Okay, she's like, I'm going to help her. If she's going to do it, I want her to do it right.
Her coloring's stunning.
Red hair.
Still no Brooke Shields.
How dare
it didn't work.
How dare you?
She's gorgeous. She's gorgeous. It's a different. I'm telling you, Brooke is. She set a bar so high it's uncomfortable.
It's like Michael Jordan's kids trying to play basketball. Exactly. They played it in college, but neither of them ever made the NBA.
And her coloring is stunning. She's tall, and I love how well adjusted the kids are.
The kids seem very bright. They're having like.
Brooke went through so much.
They're having like a super like intellectual conversation at the dinner table.
I'm sure it was for this, but they may have had this in the past because you have kids now. There's TikTok, like they were showing all that TikTok shit. Yeah, they could have their kids.
Well, Brooke was saying basically so they're talking about Brooke's movies, and the kids are like, I've never seen Pretty Baby. Like, I'm not watching that. You're my mom. I don't want to see you naked. I don't want to see a kid naked. I don't want to see my mom as a kid naked.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to see Blue Lagoon. I don't want to see you as like prepubescent naked. Like, not interested.
We don't want to watch you go through puberty.
And so then Brooke was like, okay. And you could tell she was a little, because I think she still doesn't really fully understand that those movies are fucked up.
She was defending it.
And she's like, okay, yes, that movie couldn't be made today. She's like, but why? Like, kind of like trying to say, like, prove your points.
Devil's advocate, but also give me a reason, like what she learned in college. Pick this subject and tell me why.
But then she was like, but you guys do TikTok and Instagram, and like you're in your bikinis, and like, and the daughter's like, I'm 16. And she's like, I can like, not to sex, but I can consent and I can control it.
I put it out there.
And she's like, okay, so it's empowering you. And she goes, yes. She's like, okay.
And it totally is empowering.
And then Brooke looks at the father. She's like, do you want to say anything? Because the guy did. He goes, I'm just listening.
Which is what I love about you, Chris. Like, you just listen. You take it in. You're like, all right, I got daughters.
I think he wanted.
I'm going to lose
and
this
it's on
fight.
Camera. He's probably like, I don't want to fucking do this conversation on camera.
Well, I just think he's a rational person, which
is normal.
Great for her. Yeah.
I think he's a guy who's like, I don't want limelight. I wouldn't be on TikTok. I wouldn't be on any of this shit. I don't even want
my daughters in that shit, but I can't control
I'm with Brooke. TikTok, like, especially for young girls, they put so much out there and just scantily clad, and for what?
What they showed.
If you want to take these pictures, like, do it yourself. You know what I mean? Why publicize it? Like, why does the world need to see it all?
Right.
Especially if you have no like, you're not like us, broken, who have these stupid aspirations.
I remember a Hawaii, like, it would be today's TikTok kind of thing, but there was a Hawaiian Tropic. You remember this?
Oh, yeah.
So the girls
That's in Dumb and Dumber. They had the Hawaiian Tropic bus, the girls.
You could just take a picture and send it in, and all of us wanted to do it.
It was also the Playboy Girls Next Door.
Exactly.
And
we were like, we could do it. I remember I had this orange fringe bikini. Oh my God. And I was built like Brooke at 11, same. And it was brutal. And it just long and thin. And I looked like olive oil. with no teeth, and I was just like, don't smile. I'm not going to smile. Don't get me smiling. And I'd be like,
I want to make it.
And me and my best friend, Melissa, we took tons of fucking pictures. Like if TikTok was out, oof.
That's what's sad is that you realize like we haven't changed much.
I wish I brought one of those pictures because I do have them and they are uncomfortable to look at.
Teaser. Maybe if we ever do a Patreon.
If it's a Patreon, I will show it because
good tease.
Oh, it's good.
That's what made me sad about this documentary is that we haven't really moved on as a society. We're still doing it.
I showed my ex that picture, Ronnie.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Hey, I don't want to see that."
Why?
It was uncomfortable. I was young. I was 18, not even 17.
Whoa. Let's tip the table again.
17-ish, maybe even younger. I don't know.
We were
hoeing it up.
Were you trying to entrap him?
In her mother's lingerie we were wearing.
Ugh.
That's so fucking gross.
I know someone, I won't incriminate who they are because I don't want it to get back to who they are. But they used to watch these, they knew these two girls through like kids that they used to watch, like as a nanny. And now the two kids are in their teens and they're posting like, legit, you can like see almost every inch, thongs, like high cut thongs. Like,
I'm not going to shit on them because if I was that age, I probably would have done it.
Bikinis barely covering the boob, but like these are teen, and their mom has taken some of these pictures.
You want to hear even
putting
weirder?
them out. Like it must be like, oh, how many likes?
What'd you get?
But it's like, to me, it's like that's just a starter plan to OnlyFans.
Just ignore the negative stuff.
It's just like you're just slowly creeping to OnlyFans. To me, it's like a grooming towards that, which is terrible.
100%. But
and they're gonna want jobs, and some people are gonna go through all not that they would.
Well, that's what I always say. That you guys are fucked because you put that weird shit out when your brain isn't fully developed. And it's crazy. And then you go for a job. They're like, well, what is this?
You realize like
they're not saying, oh, she was only 15 or 16. They're just like, this kid's
at some point,
or whatever.
All of our presidents are going to be like, look at this picture of his dick when he was, because that's what everyone does. Because now they dig into the past. At some point, it's going to be the
first female president to be like, I shut down my OnlyFans.
Yeah,
guys, I'm being serious about being the president.
President OnlyFans. Like, look at her asshole here. Look at this. She's like, I was young. I've changed.
Guys, I have since bleached that, so it doesn't look like that anymore.
But we may have a president at some point taking those pictures and putting them out on Instagram as the president.
But remember I was saying like with the lingerie with my friend's mom, we would wear her lingerie. But this is the thing.
Did you wash it or you just put it back
She
in?
had these parties where she would sell it, like it was like
Tupperware
kind of thing. But so she would make me model them because I was tall. Oh my God.
How old were you?
14, 15, and I was a goon.
Jesus.
I'm Benjamin Buttons. I was elderly when I was young, like I was just too tall, and it would go like split right up the middle, if you will. And so
you're just in a room full of these women? Oh my God. You were Brooke Shields on a lower level. You're low level Brooke Shields.
And it was the best. Me and Melissa would have so much fun. And Melissa was little, like 5 foot, so she would wear it. She was
are you like sleeping over? Or what are you just there?
This is my best friend. I'm there every minute.
So you're just there
every minute.
Eleanor, put this on for the women. Jeez, so uncomfortable.
Oh, it was
Were people buying? Or they're like, oh, I'm tall.
She also one time she took me to a swim club, because she sold wicker. She did good she would make money. Not all the time. She would go on and off, and so she took me to the swim club they were at, and I didn't have a bathing suit. And they were like, oh, just wear Melissa's. Melissa's 5 foot.
Jesus.
So it was that I remember making them laugh all day because I would just I was a good swimmer and I would because we were out and about. So they were like, just wear this. And so it wasn't like I had time to go home and get my bathing suit. It wasn't like I was so poor I didn't have. She was littler. They were all tiny. And so I remember doing, when you go underwater and your ass comes out, and it was completely out because the bathing suit was just inside.
Imagine if that was on Instagram.
Right. And we were goofing around. I remember we would laugh, but God forbid if there was
Did her mom never heard of mannequins?
How dare you?
This was
in a little South Philly row home.
I'm just saying.
Trying to make extra
14
money.
Years old.
She was a single mom.
Put it on get a coat stand.
So funny.
She's like, Eleanor, you're great for this. Did she give you any pizza? Anything?
It was velour. It was it was maroon. Oh, that's what we took pictures in.
Any money?
Lingerie.
Velour. Velour's like.
Oh, she probably got us pizza. Who knows? I don't remember. She let us smoke cigarettes. She didn't give a shit.
Well, I guess that's what you got out of it.
Oh, she was the fun mom.
Good time. Would you recommend this doc?
I would.
And how do you rate it up against Pam? Did you like it more or less?
I'd say
definitely darker than Pam's. Pam's was
a
dark.
Lot darker.
Pam's was dark. This is a lot because she's a child.
Everything Pam did was.
But she
Pam's
was
choice.
Molested as a child.
She definitely was molested as a child. But when she got on the Jumbotron and when she got fame and then it was Playboy, it wasn't like somebody pushed her.
But it also, though, she did have trauma from the past that could have, you know what I mean?
Sure,
both
but
have dark.
Nobody guided her into that. Nobody, her mom wasn't like, go. Yeah.
There was no mom figure.
She wasn't being traipsed around. It just, I think both of them are excellent. I think this was really good. And the fact that both of them, I mean, Pam, I'm not going to say is as well adjusted as Brooke. Pam's still a little... has some issues.
With the love and all that stuff. Yeah, right. Brooke seems very well adjusted.
Brooke is extremely
Seems like she's having a good life, has a good kids, has a good husband.
Seems
like she has like a business. I don't even get what the business was, but she's like about people who are older and aging and stuff.
TED Talking, helping whatever people get through
like problems in
postpartum, all that stuff. Because
she's written 2 books.
She must have spent her adulthood in therapy.
It sounds like it, a lot of. Where Pam, it seemed like it was kind of averse. It didn't say, but it seemed a little averse to therapy.
Yes, definitely.
It was like looking up on her phone, like Googling. Like
I'm more like what Pam would do. I'm like, I'm good. I don't need somebody. I'll just look it up and see how I can fix it.
Brooke had a lot to unpack.
But she had a lot to unpack, and she
especially then you're like a parent. You're like, oh wait, I got to deal with a lot of this, so it doesn't trickle down.
Yeah. I don't want to pass this on.
Yes.
We have to stop this.
Like, let me address what happened.
Yeah. Like I have my good friend whose mom was a little wild. Like she does that. She stopped it. She's, changing it. Yeah. And it's hard. It's really hard. So I understand that. But to me, like she went from pretty baby to a pretty incredible mommy.
So you want
lady.
that to be the new movie,
pretty baby to an pretty incredible mommy.
I'd recommend it. Like I said, the second episode was, I thought, a little less.
Sure, it could have been condensed.
I thought overall it's just interesting to learn. I don't know much about her as a person, just someone whose name you had heard superficially.
I don't think I knew too much about her.
So it was an interesting look into. It's almost like reading a biography, or autobiography. You're like, all right, I learned like a lot about this person.
You're like, she was just truly to me a pretty face. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean? Like she was the hot girl that was like, wow. And my friend Melissa had her eyebrows, so that was like a big deal. I know it sounds crazy, but she did have the big bushy eyebrows.
You know who I said this to Courtney and she agreed. I don't know if you remember the movie. Brooke Shields reminded me a lot of, especially when she was younger and as a teen, of the woman in Father of the Bride who was getting married. I don't know the actress's name.
Oh,
but I thought she looked a lot like.
Not even close.
Okay,
that girl was cute at best. Bring her up because I want Jeff to understand.
Is Brooke Shields your ideal woman?
No, Jacqueline Smith is.
Who's that?
Ugh, hate you.
Is
that her, Kimberly? Yeah, that's older. But if you get her at Father of the Bride, not even close.
How dare you?
Average at best.
Average.
That's an average-looking girl. Now bring up Jacqueline Smith.
Who's Jacqueline Smith?
How dare you not know Jacqueline Smith? The prettiest woman ever in the world, I think. Now, I don't know what she looked like as a baby.
This lady's married to Brad Paisley, by the way? Is that what we're discovering right here?
The one you liked?
The one.
Look at that. Look at that. And she's in her 80s.
You have hair like her. Is that who you model your hair after?
Look at that in the blonde. That's insane. But the dark, when she was on Charlie's Angels, when we were kids, I was like,
no
whoa.
idea who this lady is.
Go up.
You know who is a very attractive old lady? Sophia Loren. Remember her in Grumpy Old Men?
Sure, but look there, the dark hair with the over one there. That's ridiculous. That's a real woman. That's a real person.
I'm not seeing it as much as you are. She's not. I'm not saying she's unattractive. I'm not saying she's
down there with the black hair.
I'm not saying she's like perfect.
Yeah. Look at that. She's stunning.
So she looks younger than her son, who's 39 at 76. How dare they shit on the son?
76.
Son looks like Mike.
Shit.
Son looks like Mike Piazza.
To me, Jacqueline Smith was the prettiest girl in the world.
By the way, that's 76 with work. That's not a natural.
Well,
76.
a couple fillers, but same Didn't go too far.
Yeah.
Look at that. That's the same face. If you look at her as a kid, and when she was in Charlie's Angels,
if you
in
could get
20s,
plastic surgery to look like anyone, you would pick her. I'd pick Bill Cosby.
I pick Bill too. You know what? I pick Caitlyn Jenner, so people go, "Wow, you look good. You look good."
Let's end it with we'll play this clip.
Yeah, I want
to
see this clip.
So we did the Pam Anderson doc, and I told you after the fact that I can't believe I didn't mention this. Yes. That their son, Brandon Lee, great martial artist. Right. By the way, he took Taekwondo. Not Bruce Lee's son, but another. But he got in a fight with Tommy Lee, knocked him the fuck out.
Hilarious.
And this is the 911 call from Tommy. Is they married or they're married, right?
Yes.
From Brittany Ferlin.
Brittany, they are married.
Your friend in comedy.
We do.
Your best friend.
Yeah, I wouldn't call her my best friend. We were good friends, because we were coming up together.
Yes, and this is her call to the cops talking about Brandon Lee knocking Tommy Lee the fuck out.
Stepson and my fiance got into a fight and pushed his father, and then he asked his son to leave, and he wouldn't leave, and he punched him.
And any weapons?
My stepson has guns in his room, and that's why I'm freaked out. I just locked the door.
Right now, are you with your husband?
Yes. What do I do?
Okay. Is he sitting or lying down right now?
He's lying down.
On his back or side?
On his back.
Okay. Let's leave him still right now. Don't move him.
I know. I'm so afraid his mouth is bleeding. I don't know what to do.
Ma'am, listen. Is he bleeding right now?
Yelling at her.
In his mouth, he's bleeding, yeah.
Okay.
He got knocked out.
What I want you to do is he bleeding anywhere else besides his mouth?
He's a martial artist.
What?
Is he bleeding anywhere else besides his mouth?
No, just his mouth.
Okay. So what I need you to do is see if you can help him roll him on his left-hand side, so that way he's not going to choke on it. Yes, so he doesn't choke on his blood.
He just said don't touch
And
him.
try to keep his head still while you can.
Okay, I'm trying to. He's in a lot of pain.
He's moaning.
Okay, help him on his side.
Are you okay? Yeah, I'm trying to. He's knocked out. He's unconscious.
What a punch.
Can you please hurry?
Yeah, they're coming right now. I got to wait for the sheriffs first, okay? Because they got to because if your stepson has guns, we got to make sure we're protected, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Where's your stepson?
I don't know. I just locked the door of our bedroom. I just got scared.
Okay, so you're locked in your bedroom?
Yeah. But I'll come to the door when they're here. You just have to let me know. When they get it. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
She's not doing a lot of bits here.
No.
Okay. Is he still...
You would think she would...
He's just not... He's just, unconscious. He's out. Yeah, he's bleeding in his mouth. Honey, are you okay? Are you sure? I'm on the phone with the paramedic.
He's talking. That's what I'm saying.
Honey.
I think she was just startled.
Oh, my God. He's, kind of conscious.
Okay, that's
now,
fine.
A little bit.
I can hear him a little bit. That's good.
Do you have smelling salts, man?
I think his son just left. I heard the front door open.
All right, well, let's just keep you in the room for now, okay?
You think they're in a row home, too? They can hear everything?
Small house.
I'm on the phone with the paramedics.
What?
Hang up.
No.
What's he saying?
No, you want me to cancel them?
What's it, a pizza?
He's saying he wants me to cancel you guys. I don't know what to do.
Yeah, because nobody wants to pay for that.
We'll keep them coming just to be safe, okay?
You can't cancel. You can?
I cannot believe his son just punched him in the face.
You know what they were arguing about?
Why does that matter?
His mom
Nosy.
got mad and posted some ugly photos of her, and then mad, and then came in here. Hey, is your toothless? Is your toothless?
I don't
Are
mean
you
to
okay?
laugh. It's terrible.
Honey, the paramedics are coming.
Well, we're still going to come until the sheriffs clear the scene, okay?
Can you just cancel it? He doesn't want you here. He just woke up, and now he's okay.
Okay, but he still got knocked out, though, with a face injury.
See, they're going to try to get the money.
That's okay. He doesn't want it.
Yep.
Okay, well, they'll let them know, but they'll be right there, okay? The sheriff's...
She's like, no, I don't want
pushing
it. He's like, I don't want it.
He's pushing it. But
he's like, no, you have to take it.
You remember when, what's his name, the Walsh brother got knocked out?
At the Comedy Store.
At the Comedy Store. And all he was trying to do was break up a fight.
Yeah,
and
he got punched.
He got hit.
Yeah.
And we called 911. Somebody called 911. I know I didn't because I'm not good at that. But I remember just trying to keep him, conscious, talk to him, keep him awake. And because he got hit hard and he was out, his body, like, everything. And so I was like, shit. So I'm like talking to him and the ambulance came. He goes, no, don't put me in there. And I mean, he could barely stand. And he was like, no, because it's money.
Yeah.
And not that Tommy Lee doesn't have money, but it's like a pain in the ass. And now it's a record. And now it's.
When he's a public figure.
He's a public figure.
Embarrassing.
You got to put on that my son knocked me out.
What did you say? Like, Pam Anderson posted an ugly picture of who?
Of her, maybe? I don't know.
Pam or of Brittany? I didn't really understand what it was about.
I didn't really understand.
Obviously, it seemed like there was some sort of history.
The documentary on Brittany.
Is there one coming out?
It should, because she's had a wild ride herself. And, I mean, she's not a giant public figure like Pam was.
She's a great stepmom. How old is she? 30?
What if she goes up to him like that every day?
He wears a gi around the house. He knocked him out. He's the champ of the house now.
By the way, that's another thing. You got to admit that your son knocked you out. Like, listen, my dad.
It sounded like real fucking knocked
at
him
87, my dad, if my brothers even came close, he'd take the hip off, like whatever.
I saw an interview with Mike Tyson. It was recent. I think he has a 16-year-old son or a teenage son. Mm-hmm. And he said his son tries to wrestle with him. Oof. And he starts fucking with him. And
that's smart.
And he says, stop. And they're like, oh, say stop. Like you don't want to hurt him? And he goes, no, I see how he's looking at me. Like he's like coming for the title. And he goes, I don't want any part of it, man. And if I know he will get serious. Like he'll be like, fuck it, I'm not getting knocked. Like
here's the line, and you're right there.
Yeah, he's like, you're not taking me down. You're not getting anything over on me. Like, don't do it. Like, stop. And the host was like, oh shit.
Or maybe we see a documentary on Brandon Lee and what he has to go through not being Brandon Lee.
Well, and he also, like, he's one of these, calls his mom 20 times a day. She's like interfering in it because Courtney, like, he was on one of those Laguna Hills at a show. The Hills.
Oh, was he?
He was on one of those recent ones, and like he's having problems in relationships because his mom's so weird with love, and I think she's giving advice. And I think it's like this weird.
Hilarious.
So I think he's having
I'm sure
trouble navigating the waters.
I'm sure he's having some troubles.
And he also he's not like Brooke Shields, but he grew up in the public eye just because of who his parents were.
Yeah, but she didn't force him to like act.
No, but I'm saying like paparazzi, like it's a weird life. You live in a bubble.
You do get kind of
You can't be like a normal person.
And your mom, they can see your mom naked, so your mama jokes become a little realer.
I saw Rob Lowe's son was on Andy Cohen's show on E!
Talk about not getting the gene.
He's on a Netflix show. And some lady, they do like Andy Cohen's like, let's take questions. This woman, I don't know, probably pre-recorded, like via Zoom, and she's like, "What was it like being at the Comedy Central roast of your father and everyone bringing up the sex tape?" I was like, Jesus, lady. So it was like asking about the alcoholic mother. He said, not that much different than being in 8th grade when I found out about it and all my classmates started Googling it.
Oh, my God.
I was like, that's brutal. That's your father. That can be tough.
That can be tough.
I'll quote the great Fraser Smith.
Rob Lowe is like the epitome of the perfect face of a man.
Jesus,
right?
you have all these.
Isn't he?
We're finding out about your ideal.
He's got the chiseled. He's got the but his son is.
He's no Patrick Swayze.
His son's all right. Wait, Patrick Swayze's a hottie?
I thought he was a good-looking guy. I don't know.
No, he was built nice.
Jesus.
Yeah, he didn't have the rest. I know.
I thought Chris Farley was more handsome and Tommy Boy than Rob Lowe.
Now, Chris Farley is my type, so don't fuck around.
And Spade, I thought, was better than both of them.
Chris Farley had the perfect little nose. I love Chris Farley.
That body. And that Chippendales
sexy body.
Bit
I 100% would have picked Chris over Patrick.
Do you know that Farley hated hated that bit? Because it was like he hated doing the shirt off stuff, but he was so insecure that he's like, fine, I'll do it. Basically like Brooke, he would like disassociate and he would just do it. And I think that was a lot of his demons. Is like, I'll be the fat guy, but he like didn't want to be that.
Like Coco and Fame.
Well, you just want to be funny. Like he was a funny guy, and it's like, but jump through that table, you fat fuck. And it's like, oh, okay.
Now, I think of that all the time because that's one of my favorite bits.
Oh, that character, Matt Foley's great.
So fucking funny. And what's his name came up with it, or whatever him and what's his name?
Bob Odenkirk.
Yes, Bob Odenkirk. Thank you. But him and Bob Odenkirk came up with that.
We should go on $25,000 pyramid. He's come through
like
a few
Alex.
times. Came through with
Ask
Gene Shalit.
Alex for $1,000.
Came through with Carol Burnett, and this is his third.
He's got the finger on the pulse back there.
Yeah, he's got it. He's really guessing.
But it literally, like, they came up with that together, and then I wonder Chris going through the table extra. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think he would, because he was so about everyone loving him.
Pratfalls and
like he just wanted everyone to love him and everyone to think he was funny. So he would do, but I think after it would be like, oh, like I'm a fucking idiot.
It's so funny to watch because they can barely keep it together.
Oh, he would make everyone
Applegate,
break.
Spade,
Carvey, he would scream at it. He's playing like a kid. He would just be dying laughing. Imagine being there. He's this fucking guy go screaming in your face. It'd be hilarious.
I live in a van. That's so good.
He was great.
I love this.
And the suits and ready to try to like rip him, like stretch it.
Yeah, fat guy in a little coat. Oh my God.
He was great. That's a big loss to comedy that he didn't live longer. Him, John Candy, Bernie Mac. I mean, a lot of great comics.
A lot of people say, I remember where I was when Kennedy was shot or things like that, like big. I remember 9/11. I remember Chris Farley. I remember where I was.
Was he, where did he die? Was he in L.A.?
I think so.
He wasn't Marmont, was he? Not like Belushi, but he like
Belushi.
idolized Belushi and like kind of went, oddly like went the same exact path.
I don't remember exactly where he was. Like, this is what I remember.
He maybe was
the Comedy Store.
Maybe in New York. I don't know.
Lost their liquor license, right?
We lost the liquor license,
dude,
bro.
Not good. So it was a Pauly Shore party that we had.
Can't sell booze.
It was a big Halloween party, and we had bars in the parking lot.
Okay.
And the inspector came by because that's a big night to come by, and they shut us down. Like they were like, "You have to close down." Fuck. And it was It was thousands of people. We shut everything down, and we just turned it into a giant nightclub. And so we shut it down. So we lost we didn't lose our liquor license. They gave us a mark because she had it all those years with no mark.
Yeah.
So for 10 days we couldn't serve liquor, and it was awful. Awful. Imagine doing Fat Tuesday with no alcohol. And they were so mad. And nobody told them, that was kind of rude. They should have at least told them.
The wait staff had to tell them.
Yes. They could have at least told them, so it was a nightmare. So I needed extra money.
It's classic, like, I don't want to get yelled at. You guys tell them.
Yeah.
That's classic Comedy Store.
Absolutely.
The old school management
So
style.
it was around Christmas time that he died because I was at Pauly Shore's house wrapping Christmas gifts for Pauly, and that was my extra job. I was delivering them as well. And somebody left a message on his machine about Chris Farley.
Who was it?
That's a great question. I don't remember.
Was it like somebody in the business, I'm assuming?
Like an agent or a manager or something.
Brendan Fraser, his old buddy from Encino Man, who's now an Oscar winner.
Wow. But it was, I remember thinking, no, Chris Farley,
Pauly was Encino Man 2 Oscar winners this past Oscars.
It's amazing.
Pauly must be like, let's do Encino Man 2. Never been a better time.
Pauly's doing Skankfest this year.
What? Paul Shore at Skankfest?
Go check it out.
Hey, Skanks, bro.
Dude, Skankfest.
I know somebody who wouldn't.
They should get Garland in there.
They should reach out to him.
Skankfest.
I'm gonna do it.
All right, let's
get out of here.
Call again.
That's Brooke Shields, and we are.
Watch it. I say watch it.
I'm Eleanor Kerrigan.
I'm Jeff Danis.
This is What's Up, Doc.
I do have a 5 o'clock shadow.
I have a 4 o'clock. Goodbye.